tools like or if so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
92.7 WMAY.
Springfield's news and talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly cloudy today with a high near 50. Rain tonight with a low around 37. Tomorrow, wind and rain, sometimes heavy for most of the day with a high near 38, low around 28. Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 51. Sunday, sunny with a high near 58. And Monday, partly sunny with a high near 66. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
This is the Crime Stoppers Crime of the Week, sponsored by Barcom Security.
Hi, I'm Officer Drew Zabados, Crime Stoppers Coordinator for Sangamon and Menard counties. This week, Crime Stoppers wants to remind you to be aware of scams. There's been an increase in multiple different versions of scams, including Amazon scams, romance scams, and recently, a variety of scams where the victim is asked to download an app called AnyDesk. Never allow anyone to remotely access your computer unless you are sure they are legitimate technical support. Since January 1st of this year, the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office and Springfield Police Department have taken multiple reports resulting in financial scams collectively totaling over $900,000. If you have any information regarding a scam or any crime, call Crime Stoppers anonymously at 217-788-8427. Submit a tip on our website, cashfortips.us, or use the P3 app. If your tip results in an arrest, you could receive a cash reward up to $2,500. Remember, Crime Stoppers only want your information, not your name.
Catch a criminal, get a reward. Crime Stoppers of Sangamon and Menard County, sponsored by the Springfield office of Barcom Security. BarcomSecurity.com. Have a secure day.
If you have a security system, give this a try. Call them and see what their response time is. Can you talk to a real live person 24 hours a day, even weekends and holidays? Are they prompt to follow up with your service requests? Barcom Security is winning customers by outstanding performance on all of those fronts. Every second counts. Contact the Springfield office of Barcom Security for a free estimate and have a secure day.
Hi, I'm Misty Busher. For the last 8 years, I've been your Springfield City Treasurer. During that time, I modernized the office and earned over $8 million in interest. I'm proud to be a Springfield resident, and my husband Mike and I have raised our 2 children here. I'm running for mayor, and in the coming months, I will share with you my specific ideas on how I will bring new energy and leadership to help our city grow and prosper. I'm Misty Busher, and I'm working to earn your vote for Springfield Mayor.
Paid for by Friends of Misty Busher.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI Studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Well, top of the morning, and looks like we've got a lot that's going to be happening in the next few days when it comes to the litigation against Illinois' gun ban with Naperville, that case that was having a Northern District federal judge deciding to not impose a temporary restraining order or a preliminary injunction and actually denied those requests from plaintiffs. While the plaintiffs indicating that they want some kind of hold on the state law pending an appeal here. So that's just some of the latest, but we, of course, have the expectation of the state to file a response to a motion for a preliminary injunction in the Southern District of Illinois with 4 consolidated cases there. So a lot to unpack here in this next few moments. And, of course, you can call in at any time at 217-629-7970. It's 217-629-7970. That's the phone number. And always appreciate hearing from you, especially as we march right on through close to the end of the week here. So chime in, again, 217-629-7970. What do you think is going to happen here in the next handful of days? Because what we have is the state having to respond to 4 different cases in Southern District federal court. And that response is supposed to have an entire list of all items banned by the state law. That response coming from the state, then the plaintiffs have a few weeks to respond to the state, and then the state, regardless, has to respond to the charges against the law that it violates the Second Amendment. And that's the main issue that they're going to be focusing on in the Southern District. There were other issues brought up by some of those cases in the Southern District that were consolidated, that the state law banning certain types of weapons and also requiring you to register those weapons deemed assault weapons and therefore banned by state law. The Fifth Amendment right of not having to incriminate yourself to government. There's an argument that this violates the Fifth Amendment right. Because if you possess those weapons starting October 1st, with a deadline of January 1st, you have to register those with Illinois State Police. So some arguing that violates the Fifth Amendment right. That's not being brought up in the Southern District. Even though it was filed, that could come out at a later time. Nor is the equal protections argument. That's the 14th Amendment argument. They're only focusing on the Second Amendment argument. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So the state has to reply to that Second Amendment charge in the consolidated Southern District federal courts, I believe, by like March 16th, if I recall. But regardless, the Southern District, they have an April 12th hearing down in East St. Louis. So a lot of things going to be happening in the next few weeks with the Southern District case. But with the Northern District case, where a few weeks ago we had the Northern judge there who has been overturned twice on other gun-related decisions that she made, you have the case out of Naperville with Robert Bevis and Law Weapons. And earlier this week, they filed a motion for injunctive relief pending an appeal. Now, this is one of the legal steps that could be taken here to ultimately try to have the courts block the law they say is harming people now while they deal with an appeal up to the appellate courts in the Northern District case. So, again, just some background here on the Bevis v. Naperville case. You had Naperville, they passed a ordinance banning certain weapons and magazines on August 16th, 2022. That was a few months before the state enacted their statewide ban. So in between then and when the state enacted their ban, the Law Weapons Company sued the city of Naperville after the state banned the weapons. The lawsuit was amended to include the states. So you do have the Attorney General in the Naperville case filing yesterday as an intervener in that case. So you can see that the Attorney General for the state of Illinois stepping in to be a defendant in that particular proceeding. But just a few days before, you had the motion from Robert Bevis to essentially have an appeal or an injunctive relief pending an appeal. And I want to take a look at some of the documentation here as you pour through and look at the bullet points here. You know, it says, for instance, state law. Oh, that's the wrong. Let's see if we can pull up the correct documents with the motion to have the preliminary injunction pending appeal. And here we go. So ultimately, the motion lays out all of the history of the challenge that they have, the statement that the state law exempts its ban of certain class of people because of their employment status, like police officers, active and retired law enforcement officers, active duty, members of the Air Force, the United States National Guard, security companies, guards, employees, but does not exempt sitting or retired judges or people like myself. I'm a federally licensed firearms dealer, a certified master gunsmith, and an Illinois licensed private detective and law enforcement firearm instructor licensed by the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. So interesting to highlight that, and in this case saying that, hey, it's even judges can't exercise their Second Amendments, and that's the allegation. But you also have the furtherance of this argument for a preliminary injunction from the Naperville case, highlighting how his business has been all but entirely done away with. 85% of the firearms that his business sells, he says that he can't sell, and goes on to decry the state law for violating Second Amendment rights, and argues further that they want to enjoin the law, keep it from being enforced, pending an appeal. So we'll see ultimately if the judge grants that, just from seeing the ruling that she issued several weeks ago in the Northern District against the gun store here. You can't really hold out too much hope, but regardless, this does give us another indication that indeed they are going to appeal the Naperville case. So those are the federal cases, right? You're going to expect an appeal in the Naperville case, while a motion to have a preliminary injunction grant while there's an appeal. Don't know if that's going to happen. In the Southern District, you've got the state that has to respond to the 4 consolidated cases against the gun ban. Then in state courts tomorrow, you've got the Macon County case that has a status hearing. That's the standalone case from State Representative Dan Calkins. And then you have the 3 other cases from Tom DeVore. I believe that there are still outstanding subpoenas and motions to quash subpoenas. So those 3 cases have a lot of other steps that they're going to be going through with Tom DeVore's cases. Those have temporary restraining orders on them, but only for the thousands or so that signed on as plaintiffs in those cases. For the federal cases, that's where if there's a preliminary injunction granted, even in the Southern District, which is quite possible, could come from the bench sometime second week of April or shortly thereafter. That's where it would be a statewide granting of a halt of the gun ban and registry, pending, of course, it going all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, which is possible. However, keep in mind, there's a ton of other cases all across the country that have similar challenges to similar laws that could have some finality before you have Illinois' laws determined by the federal courts. So a lot of moving pieces. It can get convoluted, but again, I think all of us together, we can somehow maybe apply for a junior law degree or something. I don't know. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Of course, you can like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Just search Bishop on Air on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube as well. Make it happen and we can connect that way. But you can always call in live and local when watching live, 217-629-7970. Again, 217-629-7970. Got to take a break. Coming back, let's talk about the lab leak. All right, and then we got a whole bunch of pandemic stuff to update you on as well, including Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday, not really having too many regrets he wanted to share about handling of the pandemic, except that he wanted to implement a mask mandate sooner. So we'll talk about that as well. Now, 619 from Culver's West on Wabash. Let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast, where today you've got a high of around 50 degrees, partly sunny, the low down to 36. And then Friday, we're looking at rain, possibly mixed with snow, the high of 39. Friday night, mostly cloudy with sunny skies, eventually on Saturday with a high of 51, and then Sunday mostly sunny, 58 the high. Is winter all but gone? I think. Well, keep in mind, we can still get a blast of winter sometime in April. Remember that happened a couple of years ago. All right, now 620 from Culver's West on Wabash. It's 34 degrees.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
John, do you remember what you were doing, say, about 10 years ago?
About as good as recalling what happened last week.
Right. Well, if you purchase, say, a dishwasher at Dick Van Dyke Appliance World 9 years and 364 days ago, it'd still be covered.
By the famous 10-year protection plan, of course.
Well, it's included with most purchases at Dick Van Dyke. And according to one Google reviewer, they still had unmatched prices and helpful people who delivered and set up the appliances without hassle.
The review mentions that they shopped around, did the comparison, and still found the best value at Dick Van Dyke.
So can you really not recall what you did last week?
Can you?
Now that I think of it, not really.
This is Dennis Reekin, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. and we still beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Big Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
If you love a good fish fry, Casey's Pub will reel you in with the best in town. Be there this Friday night for Casey's 8th annual Fish Fry with Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters from 7 till 10. Plus, their super cold draft machine will be there, serving Coors Light drafts for just $2. Also, check out their Lent menu, available 5 to 8 p.m. for dine-in or carry-out. Come eat, dance, drink, and have a great time this Friday night at Casey's Pub, 2200 South Meadowbrook Road. For more info, find Casey's Pub on Facebook.
Looking to buy your next home or considering listing? My wife and I recommend choosing RE/MAX Professionals of Springfield, Fritz Pfister. Working with Fritz to find our new home in Sangamon County was truly a wonderful experience. He's prompt, responsive, and we had constant communication. He was committed to serving our needs and made our home buying experience an absolute pleasure. RE/MAX Professionals of Springfield, Fritz Pfister, 217-652-7653. 217-652-7653. Buying or selling a home? Fritz makes it easy.
Anxiety. There's plenty of it to go around for just about everyone these days, but the question is, how are you dealing with it? Anxiety can make things difficult. If you find yourself reaching for drugs or alcohol as the solution, chances are your anxiety has gotten out of control. It's time to pick up the phone and call Gateway Foundation. You'll talk with someone who holds the strictest confidentiality so that you can open up and learn about treatment options. Our team of professional counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, and physicians have a long history of helping people like you get back on track. During the healing process, you'll find that there is nothing to be ashamed of. Calling Gateway Foundation is that important first step towards getting away from the self-medication of alcohol and other substances and on the road towards safe, rewarding, and sustainable recovery. Call Gateway Foundation at 877-505-HOPE for a free, private, confidential screening. Gateway Foundation, addiction medicine saving lives.
What's the best thing to do with your money during uncertain times? Financial experts agree products like certificates of deposit and money market accounts can be a safe haven from a bumpy economy. At Warren Boynton State Bank, we've been helping people find ways for their money to make money for 145 years. Certificates of deposit, or CDs, give you a guaranteed return on your money. Money market accounts are a way to let your money earn higher interest with the flexibility of a checking account. These are just two options we have at Warren Boynton, each designed to give your money security, and they just might help you sleep better at night. At Warren Boynton, you can say we've seen a few things over the years. A lot has happened since we opened our doors in 1877, but no matter what was going on in the rest of the world, we've stood by folks in Central Illinois. A little extra confidence during challenging economic times. Warren Boynton State Bank, WBSB.net, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
The Verlo Mismatch Sale is back. It's our biggest sale of the year. Mismatch on the outside, the same Verlo long-lasting craftsmanship on the inside. So hurry in now and save an additional 10% off every mattress and box spring. Wake up. Sleep better. Verlo.
Why waste another night on a mattress that's not comfortable or supportive? This is Caleb Kitzman with Verlo Mattress. Our mattresses aren't dropped off by the truckload like most mattress stores. At Verlo, we handcraft every mattress in our local factory. That means we custom fit a mattress for you, not the other way around. Stop in this month and pair any of our mattresses with an adjustable base and get up to $200 off. Verlo Mattress. We're not just building a better mattress, we're building a better night's sleep for less.
The Verlo Mismatch Sale is back. It's our biggest sale of the year. Mismatch on the outside, the same Verlo long-lasting craftsmanship on the inside. So hurry in now and save an additional 10% off every mattress and box spring. Wake up. Sleep better. Verlo.
Be sure to head on over to WMAY.com where you can take today's daily poll and you can also find out how you can win in some of our contests. Again, WMAY.com is the website. And let's go ahead and take a look at today's daily poll question, where it's about the Equal Rights Amendment. And should it be affirmed by the U.S. and be part of the U.S. Constitution? Yes or no? Go vote at WMAY.com/poll. And for the contests, be sure to check out how you can win tickets to go see Star Wars and beyond. And also how you can win up to $75 in rebates for Fly SPI. All right, Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport celebrating 75 years, and you can go and take part in that celebration by answering a trivia question and possibly winning up to $75 in a flight rebate. All right, so make it happen. WMAY.com.
Listen and watch the interviews with today's newsmakers on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe now. Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
So the lab leak theory, is it going to come out as the concrete theory, or are we going to have all these different federal departments put out mixed messages as we had all throughout COVID-19, which really, if you ask the general public, I assume they're going to say that didn't really do much to help out the credibility of these so-called experts and authority. Just some of the headlines. FBI assessed COVID-19 pandemic likely spread from Wuhan lab. FBI director. A pair of Republican senators Wednesday night declared the U.S. Senate has unanimously passed their bill requiring the Biden administration to declassify intelligence. That's as the Senate, again, unanimously declaring that they want to declassify COVID-19 lab leak intelligence, while the FBI assessed the COVID-19 pandemic likely spread from the Wuhan lab. But you've got even the White House saying that things aren't, concrete yet. They haven't come to a consensus of sorts, while the Chinese government, they're dismissing the FBI statement about the lab leak theory. Something else that is adding to all of this. But what's coming out of the White House? As you've got the Department of Energy with their ongoing statement of, hey, some of the intelligence that they've got. You've got others looking at different types of intelligence, and of course the FBI with their statements. But here is Karine Jean-Pierre being asked about the lab leak theory and the declassification efforts that some are looking to try to make sure happens, so that there can be some true accounting of whether or not this came out of a lab in China.
Are there any plans for the administration to release an unclassified version of the Energy Department's COVID origin report? And if not, why is the administration choosing to keep that assessment classified?
So again, I'm going to just repeat my National Security Council colleague who said that he don't want to get ahead don't want to confirm a story, so I'm certainly not going to answer that from here. What I can tell you and reiterate from here, as he has said, as the National Security Advisor has said many times on the airwaves yesterday, which is that the president wants to get to the bottom of this because he thinks it's incredibly important to figure out, to get a sense where COVID-19 originated from.
So it's Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House spokesperson from the podium at the White House. But it was also asked, because it's not just about, hey, are you going to release the information? Because we've got one agency saying that it's likely, another one saying that they've got intelligence showing that seems to be the most likely source, and White House now saying there's no consensus yet. Aside from whether or not we get to that consensus, you got to reflect back on 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when there were indications that this may have been leaked out of a lab, either intentionally or unintentionally. That was brushed off as conspiracy theory. That was brushed off as, well, you're just racist. That was brushed off as something that Donald Trump would put out there to try to appease his followers ahead of an election. So how do you address that? That was a question that Karine Jean-Pierre was asked by a Fox News reporter, and here's some of how that played out.
There was not so long ago a point where anyone asking the question of whether a lab leak was a credible theory that should be looked into, a lot of those people were derided as fringe, conspiracy theorists. So are there lessons learned, looking back about how we discuss theories when we don't have all of the answers.
So here's what I can tell you is the president's commitment to getting to the bottom of this, right? That is what's the most important, so that we can share this with Congress, we can share this with the American people. That is why he asked the IC to do its work. And right now, there is no consensus. There is no consensus. You heard this from Jake Sullivan yesterday. You heard this from my colleague just moments ago. And we're going to do everything that we can. The president is asking his team to do everything that they can to figure out where it originated, because of what could potentially happen next, because of the potential of having another pandemic. And I think that's what's most important. That's what the American people should have confidence in, is that you have a president that wants to get to the bottom of this.
So again, just some of the reaction. They want to get to the bottom of it, but not yet revealing all of the cards that seem to be being put onto the table slowly in a very meticulous fashion. But people not really forgetting how them simply asking questions had them labeled as racists or crackpots or conspiracy theorists, which seems to happen a lot. And quite frankly, in the past 3 years, I think a lot of what was brushed off as, quote, conspiracy theory seemed to have surfaced to the top as conventional wisdom. So we'll see how the story continues to unfold. But coming up next, let's take a look at what Governor J.B. Pritzker had to say about now nearly 3 years into the COVID-19 pandemic. And does he have any regrets? So stay tuned. We'll get to that coming up now. 6:32. Let's take a look at headlines.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the three big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story: French President Emmanuel Macron and officials from around the world are attending the One Forest Summit this week in Brazzaville, Gabon. Discussion will be dominated by the issue of who pays for the protection and reforesting of lands that are home to some of the world's most diverse ecosystems and which suck significant amounts of carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. Countries with vast swaths of dense forest are looking for ways to make their preservation economically viable. A Logan County man has been sentenced to 5 years in prison on federal child pornography charges. 42-year-old Joshua Skelton of San Jose was indicted in November of 2021 and pleaded guilty to the charges last September. At sentencing, prosecutors presented evidence that Skelton had possessed or traded hundreds of images of sexually explicit content involving children using online chat applications. A federal appeals court has affirmed a ruling against Attorney General Kwame Raoul's attempt to get the Equal Rights Amendment included in the U.S. Constitution. Illinois is one of 3 states to ratify the ERA in the past 5 years, bringing the total to 38 states. But the appeals court held that the deadline has passed, and Raoul now says it's up to Congress to act. Opponents fear that ratification of the ERA could lead to recognition of a constitutional right to abortion. Governor J.B. Pritzker announced yesterday that Veterans Memorial Pool at Geedle Park in Springfield will be demolished and replaced using a $600,000 grant from the state of Illinois. After initially indicating the pool would not open this summer, officials now say there will be one more season of swimming before demolition gets underway. The grant for the Springfield Park District is part of a record $60 million from the Open Space Land Acquisition and Development Program. Officials expect to complete the renovations during the summer of 2024. Nearly 100 Sangamon County food establishments have received a gold award from the County Department of Public Health. The award is given each year to establishments that pass public health inspections with few or no violations and meet other criteria. The awards also come with reductions in the business's food service permit fee, up to 20% off for 3 consecutive years of gold award status. Horace Mann is apologizing for misstatements made to the Springfield City Council in its request for $600,000 to cover part of the cost of demolishing 2 downtown buildings. The company says it relied upon outdated information when it inaccurately stated that the buildings were not in the downtown historic district and there was no intent to mislead the council. But Horace Mann says the buildings are in such a state of disrepair that there is no viable alternative to demolition. Aldermen initially approved the TIF funding request, but the City Council could reconsider the vote next week. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
News sponsored by Just Beds. A great night's sleep starts with a visit to the yawn exterminators at Just Beds. Online at justbedsinc.com.
You have cancer.
3 words you wish you could unhear. While a cancer diagnosis may be a shock to your system, cancer surgery doesn't have to be. Now there's Edge Radiosurgery at HSHS St. John's Cancer Center. Edge technology breaks down tumors non-invasively. No incision or hospital stay required. Now that's the kind of news you want to hear. Learn more about the Edge and our comprehensive cancer treatment plans at st-johns.org/edge. Edge Radiosurgery is not appropriate for all cancers. Serious side effects including fatigue and skin irritation can occur. Treatment times may vary.
Less hassle, more travel. We've got connections, Springfield to Dallas to anywhere. The Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport remains open for you. Your hometown airport is committed to providing a safe, clean, and healthy travel experience. Security lines are short, parking is always free, and customer service is a top priority. Book your next American Airlines flight from SPI at aa.com. Fly local, fly SPI.
Take the easy way out.
You could dig a hole in the ground and bury your cash, but that's no way to see your savings grow. Use an INB-CD, and you'll earn a 3.14% annual percentage yield just for keeping your money with us for 13 months. The minimum deposit and balance for this certificate of deposit special is $10,000. For more details, visit INB.com. Apply at any INB branch or on our website. INB, member FDIC.
Got a tax refund coming? Put those hard-earned funds to work for you. Earmark a few bucks for a nice laptop at BLH Computers. Whether you're upgrading or replacing, it comes with the exclusive BLH guarantee. That means you're prepared for the many tax seasons to come. Clear off the desk and bring the old unit for safe recycling too. Visit BLH Computers in Jacksonville, Taylorville, and Springfield, and always online at blhcomputers.com.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly cloudy today with a high near 50. Rain tonight with a low around 37. Tomorrow, wind and rain, sometimes heavy for most of the day with a high near 38, low around 28. Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 51. Sunday, sunny with a high near 58. And Monday, partly sunny with a high near 66. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
There are 3 words I always hear when someone from our staff is on the phone. We got it. Hi, it's Laurie from Rex Battery, and whenever somebody calls us and asks if we have a certain type of battery, the answer is always, we got it. Even in those very rare instances we don't, we know how to get it. And if we don't know how to get it, we'll build it. That's how committed we are to making sure you have the power you need. From model cars to real cars, from toys to tractors, dog collars to doorbells, riding mowers to remote keys. If it takes a battery, we have it at Rex Battery. Over 75,000 batteries in stock right now. So if you're wondering if we've got a battery, yep, we've got it. They're fresh, fully charged, and ready to go. Keeping Central Illinois fully powered for over 60 years. Rex Battery, Clear Lake, west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager for Midwest Family Springfield. Are you the one person I'm looking for to help further build our media sales team at Midwest Family Springfield? We are the premier multimedia marketing company that no other company compares to in the Springfield area. It's really simple. I need one sales leader, a brand ambassador whose talent and team focus will thrive working with Midwest Family. Are you passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive? Are you an overachiever, a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have the skill set for today's digital marketing? And do you believe in growing lasting partnerships? If so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, you'll be challenged, you'll be trained, and you'll have access to world-class tools like HubSpot CRM. Are you the one I'm looking for? If so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
Do-it-yourself ordering kiosks now inside Head West mean getting your sub faster.
I don't want the same old thing. I got a craving for a Head West brownie today. Yeah!
I'm Peter Greenberg, and this is today's Ion Travel Minute. What's the most essential item to bring on a trip? It's your identification. But what constitutes approved and accepted identification? Of course, it's your U.S. passport. That's the gold standard at TSA checkpoints and essential at foreign border crossings. You can also opt for a passport card if you're coming from Canada, Mexico, Bermuda, or some Caribbean countries. But here's where it gets tricky. A federal law is requiring something called Real ID, in addition to your driver's license. But the program keeps getting delayed. The new extended deadline for Real ID? 2025. For the time being, your driver's license will still work for domestic flights at the TSA. For more information, visit petergreenberg.com. I'm Peter Greenberg, and this is today's Ion Travel Minute.
We have breaking news overnight. Every morning, Gail King, Tony DeCopel, and Nate Burleson bring you unbiased original reporting.
We begin with a destructive weather system. Another day, another exclusive CBS report.
CBS Mornings, weekday mornings on CBS.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
So long ago, a point where anyone asking the question of whether a lab leak was a credible theory that should be looked into, a lot of those people were derided as fringe, conspiracy theorists. So are there lessons learned, looking back about how we discuss theories when we don't have all of the answers?
So here's what I can tell you is the president's commitment to getting to the bottom of this, right? That is what's the most important, so that we can share this with Congress, we can share this with the American people. That is why he asked the IC to do its work. And right now, there is no consensus.
That's again Karine Jean-Pierre, White House press secretary, answering questions about, reflecting back, especially with the Department of Labor saying that, say, the lab leak theory seems likely, especially with now the FBI assessing the COVID-19 pandemic being likely spread from the Wuhan lab, according to the FBI director, despite all the speculation for years now that was the case. Is it time to reflect back and how people were treated when they brought this question forward years ago, and the White House saying, well, they're not really answering that question, just really kind of pushing back and saying there's no consensus yet on the lab leak. But I think it's an important thing to reflect back because there was censorship that happened, right? Even YouTube was blocking people from being able to discuss it as a question. People were chastised. All the corporate press and all the late night comedians made fun of Donald Trump for even making the suggestion. So it's important to look back and was that behavior appropriate to chastise people for simply asking questions? But it's also important to look back and reflect upon decisions that were made to severely impact the economy and to impact education and even health outcomes, or even the effectiveness of the vaccine. So again, some of the headlines, you got the FBI saying that the COVID-19 pandemic, quote, likely spread from the Wuhan lab. You've got the Energy Department saying that as well. China pushing back. You've got the U.S. Senate that's voting unanimously to declassify COVID-19 Wuhan lab leak intelligence. So all of this working together. But what about the vaccine? Here's another headline. Fauci takes heat after casting doubt on efficacy of COVID-19 vaccines. And another headline, researchers, citywide vaccine mandates did nothing to stop the spread of COVID-19. I had an opportunity to ask Governor J.B. Pritzker to reflect a bit on his positions of mandates and so on from throughout the COVID pandemic, because now we're about 3 years since he ordered a statewide stay-at-home order impacting businesses, telling kids they can't go to school in person. And then all of the series of consecutive executive orders and disaster proclamations and the mandates, the vaccine mandates in particular. Now that we've got other indication that the vaccines weren't as effective as maybe they thought that they were. It was told that you were going to be inoculated. That's what is kind of synonymous with vaccine. But I know a lot of people who get the COVID-19 vaccine, all the boosters, and they're dealing with COVID-19 or the after effects of COVID-19. Now, there's a whole host of other reasons reasons that could be. It could be just general health or whatnot. But still, reflecting back on it, were these mandates useful or were they harmful? Were decisions to lock down the state's economy and education harmful or were they helpful? So reflecting back, and this is kind of interesting just to see the back and forth that there is of how at one point, we were told that you were not going to have vaccine mandates, and then all of a sudden, boom, you have vaccine mandates. At one point, you were told you don't have to wear a mask, and then boom, you were told you had to wear a mask. That started 3 years ago with the state's health officials, including Dr. Ngozi Ezike, if you remember. She said that indeed the COVID-19 threat to the public remains low. Here she is 3 years ago, February 28th, 2020.
The risk of infection to Illinoisans is low. However, we have to plan and prepare for all possibilities. Please be confident that the Illinois Department of Public Health will communicate quickly and transparently if there are any changes in the risk level here in Illinois.
And after that, the risk level did change considerably. Again, 2 weeks afterwards, you had the speculation of restaurants being closed, and then it happened, and then the stay-at-home order, and then the months of continued executive orders now 3 years in. And even the governor's continued executive orders will maintain until sometime in May when the federal COVID disaster lifts. But I had a chance to ask the governor yesterday about if, now 3 years in, he has any regrets, especially with some of the other headlines that are coming out, like Dr. Anthony Fauci casting doubt on the effectiveness of the vaccines or vaccine mandates not really being as beneficial as some had speculated. Here's what the governor had to say.
It's funny. It's easy to look back and say, if I knew then what I know now, would I have done something differently? I'm sure that's true about almost anything that we might talk about, that any of us would look back and say, is there something different I might have done if I knew then what I know now? So, there are all kinds of things like that. I've been asked this question before. I think about it. I think it was all kind of a traumatic period for everybody, right? The worst parts of the pandemic. And what are the ways in which we could have alleviated the suffering of people? One that I often think about is, could we have had a mask mandate earlier? Should we have? Would that have saved more lives? As it is, we saved an awful lot of lives, I think, with the restrictions that were in place, and people followed them, importantly. But if you look at the comparison, for example, between how we did versus how the state of Florida did, where they really had no requirements, no mandates, thousands and thousands more people would have died in Illinois if we had followed the lead of a state like Florida. If they had followed our lead, thousands fewer people would have died in Florida. So just as one example, I'm sure there are things I would have done differently, but here we are. I think we're all learning, years into it now, more of the science, which we couldn't have known early on. And we've learned that the vaccines work. The vaccines work. Let's be clear. Many of us are able to gather indoors now because so many people are vaccinated and the vaccines work.
So again, Governor J.B. Pritzker answering my question on does he reflect back on the 3 years and have any regrets as to his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. And he talks about Florida, which is interesting because a report that came out from the National Bureau of Economic Research in April of 2022 actually graded all of the states. And if you look at it real close, Illinois ranked at number 46 for total outcomes with an F. Total outcomes, when you combine economic health to physical health to education and so on, when you have all those numbers combined, Illinois, again, ranks near the bottom, 46 with an F. Florida ranked number 6 with an A. And that's showing that even with not having as many mandates in place, Florida's health outcome may have been right around the same as Illinois' health outcome, but Florida's economy and education outcome, according to this report from last year, indicating that's different. But you also have, again, other headlines, and this one coming from Dr. Fauci in a report that he wrote, essentially casting doubt on the effectiveness of vaccines. In an article in Cell Host, he laid that out, essentially, questioning with as long as it takes to get vaccines approved and the changing nature of respiratory viruses. It's not really a surprise that you're not going to have the most effective vaccine. So let's go to a quick call here. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Greg, March 1st now declared Jon Stewart Vindication Day.
And he had the time he came out and put Stephen Colbert on pretty thin ice. You could see how uneasy Colbert was when Stewart said, "Hey, it's not like you can call you can point to a pangolin kissing a turtle when there's a Wuhan virus lab right down the street."
If there's chocolate flowing through the streets in Hershey, Pennsylvania, we might want to look at the Hershey, factory. Just maybe take a look.
Take a look.
Yeah, he was called racist for that.
Yeah.
He was very racist. So yesterday on his podcast, he was definitely feeling vindicated.
So maybe March 1st is Vindication Day for Jon Stewart. We'll see if that rings true. Appreciate the call, and it's interesting to see just exactly how this is being discussed now 3 years into it, and how it's going to be discussed even in the days, weeks, months, and years ahead. All right, Springfield's Morning News. Got to take a break. Come back, tell you about National Guard having open arms for service members that didn't want to get the vaccine. Stay tuned. I got details now. 6:51 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions. And did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tanya DeSanto. At Prairie Dental Group, we let our patients do the talking.
Not just my friends who noticed it right away, but when I see my docs, and they'll say, "Let me look in your mouth," and go, "Oh, beautiful teeth, beautiful smile."
We sat down and talked about what we were going to do and how we were going to do it, and you guys were willing to work with us. You have your ducks in a row.
So I had to have a root canal, and doing that, there was no discomfort. It was basically just come in and take a nap while you did the work.
I just love them. They're all great. They treat me good. Couldn't have a better place to go.
I would highly recommend Prairie Dental, absolutely for sure.
Come see why so many of your friends and neighbors choose the all-women staff at Prairie Dental Group. Make your appointment today by calling 217-546-0412. Prairie Dental Group is located at the corner of Greenbrier and West White Oaks Drive right here in Springfield. And you can also find us on our website at prairiedentalgroup.com.
And thank you for voting us the best dental office in Springfield 8 years in a row.
If you love a good fish fry, Casey's Pub will reel you in with the best in town. Be there this Friday night for Casey's 8th annual fish fry with Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters from 7 till 10. Plus, their super cold draft machine will be there serving Coors Light drafts for just $2. Also, check out their Lent menu, available 5 to 8 p.m. for dine-in or carry-out. Come eat, dance, drink, and have a great time this Friday night at Casey's Pub, 2200 South Meadowbrook Road. For more info, find Casey's Pub on Facebook.
Hendricks Home Furnishings has always been known for its high-quality furniture. But did you know flooring has been a key part of their business for over 70 years? Family-owned Hendricks Home Furnishings provides their customers with the latest styles and trends, expertise, quality, competitive pricing, and professional installation. Hendricks Home Furnishings, Route 4 in Verdon, where you can always talk to the owner.
Lauterbach Man here, proudly standing above my busy 7 bays on Wabash. The view from here is amazing. I've been looking at our wonderful city for decades upon decades. Many things have changed, but other things have not. We love Abe. We aren't shy about covering things in cheese, then adding toast, then cheese, then fries, then cheese, then, well, you know what I'm talking about. And the thing I'm most proud of, the thousands and thousands of cars that are driving safely thanks to our talented Lauterbach technicians. Cars going from the airport to the universities, from North Dirksen to South Veterans, crisscrossing from farmland to downtown, waving at tourists and trusted politicians. Abe. And if Abe were here today, he'd say, "Who's the tall guy?" And I'd say, "I'm Lauterbach Man, and I'm at your service." And if an imaginary Abe Lincoln driving a car can trust us, you can too. Lauterbach Tire on Wabash. Drive safely now.
What's the best thing to do with your money during uncertain times? Financial experts agree products like certificates of deposit and money market accounts can be a safe haven from a bumpy economy. At Warren Boynton State Bank, We've been helping people find ways for their money to make money for 145 years. Certificates of deposit, or CDs, give you a guaranteed return on your money. Money market accounts are a way to let your money earn higher interest with the flexibility of a checking account. These are just two options we have at Warren Boynton, each designed to give your money security, and they just might help you sleep better at night. At Warren Boynton, you can say we've seen a few things over the years. A lot has happened since we opened our doors in 1877, but no matter what was going on in the rest of the world, we've stood by folks in Central Illinois. A little extra confidence during challenging economic times. Warren Boynton State Bank, WBSB.net, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had two challenges: improve their brand presence and message, and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to kansascitysteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WEBNOW1. That's 877-WEBNOW1.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Listen on demand at WMAY.com. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
Quick update here from the Illinois National Guard. Was able to get some numbers from them, and they shared that 300 and some odd National Guardsmen that were kept from drilling with the National Guard because they refused to take the COVID-19 vaccine. They're going to be welcomed back with open arms. We started getting information on this, of course, with the vaccine mandate being lifted on members of the military when the Congress agreed that they're not going to pass an appropriations bill until they can remove this. Now, it was opposed by a lot of people, but Republicans were holding up spending, saying they want to get rid of the military vaccine mandate. So that ultimately was approved to get a spending package through, and then you had the implementation of rescinding that vaccine mandates from members of the military. So we got indication from the Illinois National Guard that the Department of Defense sent out that guidance for all National Guard across the country on Friday of last week. So we found that out on Monday morning, and then getting more detail on how many service members were impacted by this. I did get back from the Illinois National Guard, and I'll just read to you from some of what they had to say here. But the guidance now in place, they say that they all but one individual in the Illinois Air National Guard was discharged, or just one individual from the Illinois National Guard was discharged. So we had one person let go. There were 313 that were essentially not allowed to drill. Well, they're going to be welcomed back now. They are welcomed back with open arms, they said. So with that policy in place, the U.S. Department of Defense prohibiting unvaccinated service members to perform duty, that's lifted now. So those individuals are welcomed back. So 313 some odd National Guard members not allowed to drill. That's about 2.4%, I think, that weren't allowed to drill. They're going to be welcomed back with open arms. I have yet to find out how many National Guards men and women had filed for religious or medical exemptions, so we'll see if we can get those numbers, how many of those were filed, how many were approved, how many were denied. So we'll still keep track of that, but interesting to see those numbers unfold. It's now 7 o'clock.
From the Fly SPI Studios, take the easy way out. WMAY FM, Taylorville, Springfield's News and Talk is 92.7 WMAY.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Faith Abubank. Multiple California counties under a state of emergency due to the snow. Roads are blocked with drivers, some emergency crews, medicine and food deliveries cut off.
The governor now activating the National Guard, declaring an emergency in 13 counties. Nearly 12 feet piled up in the Sierra Nevada mountains in the past week, making it the snowiest 4-month period since 1970. Yosemite National Park closed with 15 feet of snow.
ABC's Andrea Fujii. Trouble in the air and at some airports. In one incident, a man accused of checking a bag with an explosive device inside at the Allentown, Pennsylvania airport. The suspect due in court later on today.
In the charging documents, number one, they didn't say anything as to what his motive might have been for allegedly trying to sneak this explosive device onto the plane. But also the charges themselves are specifically for having that explosive at the airport, trying to get it through security. There's no charges, at least so far, as to some sort of greater plot or terrorism or motive in that regard.
ABC's Trevor Alt. Other scares in the air, 10 people hospitalized after a fire on board a Spirit Airlines flight diverted to Jacksonville last night. And severe turbulence sending 7 people to the hospital from a flight heading from Austin, Texas to Germany yesterday. Closing arguments by the defense today in the Alec Murdaugh trial in South Carolina. He's charged with killing his wife Maggie and son Paul.
The state says Murdaugh's motive for the murders was to cover up his financial crimes and gain public sympathy. But today, the defense is expected to argue the deaths of his wife and son got Murdaugh neither of those things. The defense today will also remind the jury that there's no physical evidence tying Murdaugh to the shootings.
ABC's Andrew Dembert. A security upgrade after the deadly Michigan State University shootings last month. The school adding locks to more than 1,300 classroom doors by the fall. This is ABC News.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to 3 key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704. Cordell.
A little bit later on this hour, we'll get an update from concerned citizens about a pipeline that's moving through. It could be moving through, and we'll get some of the latest in what's happening there. New filing being made? Is it going to go ahead and advance, or are citizens going to push back hard enough to block this? So we'll find out later on in this hour. Also, we'll talk about TikTok. And is that something you let your kids play? Are you on TikTok? So stay tuned to some of what's coming up here on WMAY. It's now 7:04. I'm Greg Bishop with Springfield's Morning News.
News.
Weather.
92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. A Logan County man has been sentenced to 5 years in prison on federal child pornography charges. 42-year-old Joshua Skelton of San Jose was indicted in November of 2021 and pleaded guilty to the charges last September. At sentencing, prosecutors presented evidence that Skelton had possessed or traded hundreds of images of sexually explicit content involving children using online chat applications. A federal appeals court has affirmed a ruling against Attorney General Kwame Raoul's attempt to get the Equal Rights Amendment included in the U.S. Constitution. Illinois is one of 3 states to ratify the ERA in the past 5 years, bringing the total to 38 states. But the appeals court held that the deadline has passed, and Raoul now says it's up to Congress to act. Opponents fear that ratification of the ERA could lead to recognition of a constitutional right to abortion. Sacred Heart Academy is inviting former students of Siena Hall to an open house before the structure that served as a residence hall for some of the girls who attended the Catholic school from 1949 to 1977 is torn down. The school will conduct an online auction of building materials beforehand. Former boarders at Siena Hall are invited to an open house to be held on Sunday, March 12th from 1 to 3 p.m. You'll find more details and info on how to RSVP at WMAY.com. A group representing naturopathic physicians is asking Illinois lawmakers to approve state licensure of their profession. Naturopathic medicine uses a variety of techniques from nutrition to herbal treatments to acupuncture to mental health care in treatment of illness. The director of the Illinois group tells WMAY's Greg Bishop that roughly half of all states license the profession. She says while naturopathic doctors can be trained in Illinois, they often leave the state because of the licensing issue. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
News sponsored by CBD Botanicals. Visit CBD Botanicals in Springfield and Edwardsville. Online at cbdbotanicals.com.
Enjoy an out-of-this-world experience as the talented musicians of the Illinois Symphony Orchestra, led by Vince Lee, take you to a galaxy far, far away as they perform some of the greatest cinematic hits written by John Williams. From the iconic music of Star Wars, from Harry Potter to Jurassic Park and E.T., there's something for everyone at Star Wars and Beyond. Register to win your tickets into Star Wars and Beyond, the best of John Williams all this week with the free WMAY mobile app or at WMAY.com/win with 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Hi, I'm Misty Busher, and I'm running for Springfield Mayor. My goal is to bring new leadership for a better Springfield, and that means rolling up my sleeves and hitting the ground running to make sure things get accomplished. I will work hard to bring much-needed change for economic development, job growth, infrastructure, homelessness, and beautification of our city. These are just a few of the issues I'm focused on. I'm here to fight for Springfield and to bring changes to benefit every resident. I ask for your vote as mayor of Springfield. Please vote Misty Busher.
Paid for by Friends of Misty Busher.
11% off. Everything is back. Menards carries a great selection of in-stock appliances. From countertops to cabinetry, we have everything you need to turn your kitchen dreams into reality. Complete your look with Quality One Oak cabinets. These cabinets come ready to install, ready to finish, and are ready to take home today. All Quality One cabinets are 11% off. Good to March 5th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Order your sub from the new Head West in-store kiosks, and you get a free brownie. Free brownie.
I don't want the same old thing. I got a craving for a Head West brownie today. Yeah!
Miss an interview? Catch the podcast whenever, wherever. 92.7 WMAY is on demand at WMAY.com.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly cloudy today with a high near 50. Rain tonight with a low around 37. Tomorrow, wind and rain, sometimes heavy for most of the day with a high near 38, low around 28. Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 51. Sunday, sunny with a high near 58. And Monday, partly sunny with a high near 66. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI Studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager for Midwest Family Springfield. Are you the one person I'm looking for to help further build our media sales team at Midwest Family Springfield? We are the premier multimedia marketing company that no other company compares to in the Springfield area. It's really simple. I need one sales leader, a brand ambassador whose talent and team focus will thrive working with Midwest Family. Are you passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive? Are you an overachiever, a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have the skill set for today's digital marketing? And do you believe in growing lasting partnerships? If so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, you'll be challenged, you'll be trained, and you'll have access to world-class tools like HubSpot CRM. Are you the one I'm looking for? If so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Here's what we believe at Rex Battery. You should be able to find the right battery when you need it. Our company started when my dad needed a battery for his car, and he built it himself. Today, more than 50 years later, we are still making sure you can find the right battery you need. And that includes the common batteries people use every day to the hard-to-find batteries used in big farm equipment. While online outlets are struggling with supply chain issues, we have shelves full of batteries. The best part is we're right here in town and ready to help today. Hearing aids, power tools, and the car in your garage. If it takes a battery, you can find the battery at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
X with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Let's take a look at some of the latest in Illinois headlines. I'm Greg Bishop. It is Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY. You can follow along Bishop On Air on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, where we broadcast live. Again, just search Bishop On Air. You can also find us streaming on WMAY News on Facebook or broadcasting in Central Illinois, 92.7 WMAY. A lot of talk on the YouTube feed about what's going on with federal investigations of COVID-19 fraud on key firearms. Apparently, media reports showing that there's about 20 some odd charges against for loan fraud, and this happening here in Illinois with obviously a lot of unknowns here. But I imagine that a lot more is going to come out about that. As federal investigators continue their review of how COVID-19 pandemic assistance dollars were used and abused and all the fraud there is. I mean, just think about all the fraud there was in the unemployment system. Now, a lot of that might be lost, but if they can track down fraud and from PPP loans or other types of COVID-19 relief dollars that were paid for by tax dollars, that was trillions of dollars that went out. So again, innocent until proven guilty, but that's a pretty hot story. A lot of people are talking about. But speaking of, the pandemic, of course, a lot of fallout from that, and I wanted to touch on this again because it's an important story. And as far as National Guard members that are going to be welcomed back with open arms to the Illinois National Guard. So the National Guard says they have open arms for about 2% of the state's service members who were barred from attending drills for not complying with the President of the United States vaccine mandate. That mandate from President Joe Biden came just months after he said he's not going to mandate the COVID-19 vaccine for members of the military. So some people caught a little bit off guard, no pun intended. But you do have around 313 guardsmen that were kept from being able to train with the Illinois National Guard because they did not comply. Now, are they going to get back pay? They should not expect back pay unless there's some kind of law change. There would have to be a law approved by Congress and signed by the president for those 313 guardsmen to get back pay. So the Department of Defense lifting that COVID-19 vaccine mandate. You've got the Illinois National Guard saying that now that the federal COVID policy is rescinded and all federal administrative actions intended solely for COVID-19 refusal are rescinded as well, the Illinois National Guard's reached out to those service members and requested that they return for weekend training and annual training effective January 10th. So the call's already out for those service members, 313 of them, to come back and train. Now, only one National Guard member from Illinois was dismissed for not complying. I don't have the number of who applied for the religious or the medical exemption. May be able to get that number in the days ahead, so I'll keep you posted on that. But interesting to see, again, 313 guardsmen that just straight up refused to comply with the vaccine mandate, being welcomed back with, quote, open arms, and that makes up about 2% of the 13,000 members of the Illinois National Guard. Meanwhile, in other headlines concerning the vaccine, troops who refused COVID vaccines still may face discipline, at least according to the Associated Press. on a Department of Defense level. So interesting to see how that plays out. Some other things going on around Illinois. Of course, we've talked about population decline for years, having watched all of the estimates come out year after year after year from the U.S. Census showing that Illinois continues to lose population. Well, Wirepoint's taking a recent news article from the Chicago Sun-Times to task, calling it, kind of out of touch. So nonprofits, Wirepoints, they do a lot of analysis, delving deep into the numbers, and they saw a recent Chicago Sun-Times article of why people are leaving the state. And Mark Glennon, he's the founder of Wirepoints, he says that the article called Why So Many People Are Leaving Illinois didn't mention anything about high taxes, corruption, crime, or Chicago's poor economy.
Important topic of why people are leaving Illinois was given short shrift despite all the resources that the Sun-Times has.
Now, he also says another reason that's being underreported as to why people are fleeing Illinois and will continue to do so is the research shows people are moving to states that are more politically like them.
If that's the case, and it probably is more so in Illinois, we have a huge national sort of resorting going on where the country's going to get far more divided even than it is right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out demographically. Glennon also said that the article from the Sun-Times didn't offer any information or specifics about Illinois and why people are leaving. Again, nothing about crime, nothing about the economy, nothing about corruption.
Taxes and a better economy elsewhere. I think the best evidence for that is the IRS migration that comes out every year that, of course, shows people moving to low-tax states and away from Illinois and other high-tax states.
So interesting to see that analysis of a Chicago Sun-Times article as to why people are leaving Illinois. We've reported on why people are leaving Illinois time and again, and I think Glenn in there really hits it with the IRS migration data. You can really see it's the higher earners that are leaving the state of Illinois. It's not the lower income people that are leaving the state of Illinois. And you got to think if that trend continues, just who's going to be left in Illinois to pay for benefits that lower income people may need. You can see it can turn into a spiral of sorts out of control if that trend continues. Some other headlines, maybe this will help with the state's finances, which could help with taxes. A measure looks to increase the state's rainy day fund. Comptroller Susana Mendoza was testifying in front of a House committee yesterday where she talked about a bill that she wants to make sure it boosts the state's rainy day fund. And how this would work is if the state has less than $3 billion of bills they have to pay, which is kind of considered a typical bill schedule, then they can start putting some money automatically into the state's rainy day fund. Here's the comptroller.
The stated purpose in law says that the Rainy Day Fund, or more specifically the Budget Stabilization Fund, would be used to reduce the need for future tax increases.
Now, State Representative Mark Walker, he asked some pretty specific questions about how this would work.
There are some times where we have extremely high inflation for multiple years, where the cost inflation starts catching up to our revenue inflation, and I would need that to be addressed.
But Mendoza, she said that it can still happen even with high inflation.
We must learn from previous mistakes and put measures in place to help us avoid actions that waste taxpayers' money and help provide greater payment predictability for providers and vendors alike.
So if you have greater predictability, better finances, are you going to be able to lower those taxes? We shall see. Let's take a call. Good morning. You're on WMAY. What's up?
Yes, hello, Greg. Sean Gotti here.
What's up, man?
Did somebody say leaving Illinois?
Somebody said leaving Illinois, and they didn't say it was because of crime, taxes, or corruption.
I'm shocked that wasn't a part of it. But, yeah, it resonated with me hearing that because that's the best decision I've ever made.
Now, how long ago was it that you left? And you came back for a spell, right?
Man, did I. Yeah, so we left at 19, came down here to North Carolina, was down here for about 2.5 years. And for whatever reason, my better half had the inkling to come back home, in which we did, reluctantly. And then last December, the 30th, as a matter of fact, we boned out again, and we'll never return. Just for a visit.
Except for a visit, right? If you want to come back and buy me a beer, hey, you're probably saving some tax dollars over there. And what was it that made you go? Was it employment? Was it just getting away from the politics? What was it that made you want to get out of Illinois?
It just, I don't know. We just kind of, first of all, my wife's job brought us here. That was first and foremost. Her job was going to be down here, so that's why we moved. But coming back here, it was just seeing the state of Illinois, that it was in, and just all the taxes and the crime and the policies coming forth. It was just too much.
Interesting.
Entirely too much.
Right on. Well, some media outlets don't think that that's necessarily the reason that people leave, but
they're ignorant.
Appreciate your anecdotes, Sean Gotti, listening all the way from across the country. So thanks for checking in.
940 miles away, sir.
Wow, look at that.
Take care.
Awesome. I appreciate you calling in, man, and listening from all the way back there. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Be sure to follow along, Bishop on Air, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can also find all the clips and whatnot, call-in segments and guest segments as well here on our Facebook and YouTube page. Just search Bishop on Air. All right, got to take a break now, 7:21. Let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast, where today you've got yourself some sunny skies with a high of 50, the low down to 36, and rain likely. Into Friday, rain possibly mixed with snow, the high of 39. But then warming up to a high of 51 Saturday, and then Sunday, the high near 60 with mostly sunny skies. Monday, partly sunny, the high of 66. Oh my gosh, I've already got my tulips starting to come up in my yard, and all these flower shoots. All I wanted was 6 inches of snow for 2 or 3 days, and we didn't even get that anyway. 7:21 now from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
Hey, this is Jim over at CBD Botanicals. So, this time of year, we often experience this thing called SAD, or seasonal affective disorder. And there's something in the shop that really works well for that. CBG is kind of like a turbocharge to the CBD that we're already using. It helps accentuate the effects that it already has. It also helps me in the morning, maybe just open up my chest a little bit so I can get that breath, that good deep breath to help me get going and get that engine started. But then on the weekends, I also use something that has a little bit of something from the other side of the aisle that we like to talk about. And I use a sativa strain of this, which helps kind of perk me up so that I'm ready and raring during the weekend and still feeling incredibly relaxed as well. So come on by to the shop, come check out these items, and it's CBD and CBG and sometimes a little something else from the other side of the aisle with a little sativa in it. And every purchase of $100 or more, you get a free gift while supplies last. CBD Botanicals at 2538 South Cokie Mill Road at the corner of Cokie Mill and Isles, next to Walgreens in the Fresenius building.
Hello everybody, Cousin Bill with Illinois Paving, your Reader's Choice Award Paver of the Year. Thanks for that. Is your driveway a sloppy, muddy mess? Are you tired of getting stuck in your driveway? Maybe you're sick of all the sloppy mud in the car and in the house. Or maybe you don't want all the garbage rock in your lawn. Well, if so, call Cousin Bill at Illinois Paving. ILPaving.com! ILPaving.com.
The Verlo Mismatch Sale is back. It's our biggest sale of the year. Mismatch on the outside, the same Verlo long-lasting craftsmanship on the inside. So hurry in now and save an additional 10% off every mattress and box spring. Wake up. Sleep better. Verlo.
Why waste another night on a mattress that's not comfortable or supportive? This is Caleb Kitzman with Verlo Mattress. Our mattresses aren't dropped off by the truckload like most mattress stores. At Verlo, we handcraft every mattress in our local factory. That means we custom fit a mattress for you, not the other way around. Stop in this month and pair any of our mattresses with an adjustable base and get up to $200 off. Verlo Mattress. We're not just building a better mattress, we're building a better night's sleep for less.
The Verlo Mismatch Sale is back. It's our biggest sale of the year. Mismatch on the outside, the same Verlo long-lasting craftsmanship on the inside. So hurry in now and save an additional 10% off every mattress and box spring. Wake up. Sleep better. Verlo.
As you sit slightly sideways staring at a ditch, it's about now you're thinking, I sure wish I'd have visited Lauterbach and done something about these tires. Worry not. We've all been there. And Lauterbach is here. It's the Lauterbach man, and I'm overlooking stacks of fresh tires ready for your car. Putting two and two together, it's pretty clear that a place called Lauterbach Tire is quite exceptional when it comes to those rubber miracles. See, good tread and properly balanced tires can mean the difference between you choosing when to stop and that slushy ditch choosing for you. And it's not exaggerating to say better tires can mean a safer Springfield. I'm serious about safety, and I know you are too. So let's meet over lunch or whenever is convenient for you and find you a nice set of safe tires. You'll be happy, and that car in front of you right now will be happy too. See my talented techs at Lauterbach Tire on Wabash today, and drive safely now.
You might be surprised by how many folks we meet who have a security system in place, but it doesn't work. And they can't remember how it works, and they can't get anyone from the company to help them. Maybe we have a solution. We're Barcom Security. We're here, we're family-owned and managed, and we are 100% live all the time. 24/7, 365. You never get a recording, and the phone rarely rings more than twice. We never sleep. Check out barcomsecurity.com and have a secure day.
All right, get on over to WMAY.com and take today's daily poll where you can answer about whether or not the U.S. Constitution needs to be amended with the Equal Rights Amendment. Again, go vote, WMAY.com. Right now, where's it standing? 58% of you say yes. Where's that? That's 56%. There you go. Go vote at WMAY.com. But also go to the contest page where you can find out how you can win tickets for the Illinois Symphony Orchestra's Star Wars and Beyond. Plus, $75 rebate for Fly SPI celebrating their 75 years. So go WMAY.com where it's all happening.
Take Springfield's morning news with Greg Bishop everywhere with the free WMAY mobile app. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
Is it Friday yet? No, not yet? All right, I get it. Not Friday yet. You want TikTok? I think I downloaded it once, then kind of felt like I was about to have a seizure, then just got rid of it. Never really even posted anything, let alone, I don't even think I registered an account. But TikTok, under fire for being a Chinese spy app, which, if anybody knows anything about technology in China, they love stealing intellectual property, and they require a company that wants to do business in China to essentially allow for that business to open their books entirely up for the Chinese military to, have every bit of stake in that technology. But ByteDance, a company that's in China, from China, it has this app, TikTok, and kids love it. Apparently all you do is you just sit there and you scroll and you scroll and you scroll and you scroll and you look at all these ridiculous videos, and some of them are over the top funny, others are stupid, others are people commenting on headlines, others are maybe some science stuff. There's been analysis done, some looking at how TikTok is presented in China versus how TikTok is presented in the United States. And what they found was China's TikTok apparently is flooding young people with science, with math, with ingenuity, with cool and informative things, while over the United States seems to be all really just seemingly just mishmash garbage nonsense. So what is that going to do for a younger generation that seems to be using this app quite a bit? Well, TikTok, apparently hearing from some officials saying that they're going to limit how much time minors can use TikTok to just 60 minutes a day. Is that going to be enough to quell concerns? Maybe not so. But you've also got movements from governments to block TikTok from being on government devices. Some states have blocked this. Apparently, you've got President Joe Biden having concerns about TikTok. And during a White House press briefing, saying that they see TikTok and the application as a threat to national security. TikTok's come under fire for having ties to the Chinese communist regime. So are there going to be efforts to try to block TikTok? I think up in Canada they've made similar efforts. But what about here in the United States? What about when it comes to government devices and all of the data that could be swept up by China if indeed they have TikTok on those government devices? So if you've got TikTok, I mean, hey, you're a free individual. It's a free country. But just keep in mind, China's going to have access to that information. But at the same time, you're carrying around this cell phone. A cell phone that was created, by the way, not this particular cell phone, but Illinois heralds itself as being the land where cell phones were first tested. But you've got 50 years ago, this coming together, the technology being used to bring this about, and how it's changed from the brick phone in a suitcase to a small device that has more computing power than they had whenever they landed on the moon. So just pretty incredible as to the cell phone technology. I'm using a cell phone right now as one of the cameras. I've got another camera up here, but the cell phone cameras, I use it every day in news gathering. I hook up a microphone to it. I get one-on-one interviews with people, it's got everything you need. A calculator. A calculator. Of course it's got a calculator. You got freaking GPS on this thing. And that means that it's very trackable. So all this information is being cataloged somewhere. You've got the National Security Agency here in the United States is doing a whole ton of spying as well, collecting everything and being able to go back retroactively and search all of this. Text messages, phone calls, metadata, how many times you've checked into Facebook, how many times you've scrolled on TikTok, how many times you've gotten into arguments with your siblings. All of that's tracked, cataloged, and it seems to be kind of, the norm. But should it be? I think at some point we're going to have a conversation about a digital bill of rights, what that should look like. So looking forward to having more of this conversation in the future. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop. Coming up, let's get an update on a proposed carbon dioxide pipeline that could be coming through parts of central Illinois. Some citizens not too happy about it. So stay tuned. We'll get to that next here. Now 7:32 on WMAY.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the three big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story: SpaceX launched 4 astronauts in a Falcon rocket from Florida's Kennedy Space Center shortly after midnight this morning. The crew is expected to arrive at the International Space Station Friday. NASA's 2 astronauts are joined by 1 Russian and only the second person from the United Arab Emirates to fly to space. The first attempt to launch them was called off Monday at the last minute because of a clogged filter in the engine ignition system. Sacred Heart Academy is inviting former students of Siena Hall to an open house before the structure that served as a residence hall for some of the girls who attended the Catholic school from 1949 to 1977 is torn down. The school will conduct an online auction of building materials beforehand. Former boarders at Siena Hall are invited to an open house to be held on Sunday, March 12th from 1 to 3 p.m. You'll find more details and info on how to RSVP at WMAY.com. A group representing naturopathic physicians is asking Illinois lawmakers to approve state licensure of their profession. Naturopathic medicine uses a variety of techniques from nutrition to herbal treatments to acupuncture to mental health care in treatment of illness. The director of the Illinois group tells WMAY's Greg Bishop that roughly half of all states license the profession. She says while naturopathic doctors can be trained in Illinois, they often leave the state because of the licensing issue. Horace Mann is apologizing for misstatements made to the Springfield City Council in its request for $600,000 to cover part of the cost of demolishing 2 downtown buildings. The company says it relied upon outdated information when it inaccurately stated that the buildings were not in the downtown historic district and there was no intent to mislead the council. But Horace Mann says the buildings are in such a state of disrepair that there is no viable alternative to demolition. Alderman initially approved the TIF funding request, but the city council could reconsider the vote next week. Nearly 100 Sangamon County food establishments have received a gold award from the County Department of Public Health. The award is given each year to establishments that pass public health inspections with few or no violations and meet other criteria. The awards also come with reductions in the business's food service permit fee, up to 20% off for 3 consecutive years of Gold Award status. Governor J.B. Pritzker announced yesterday that Veterans Memorial Pool at Geedle Park in Springfield will be demolished and replaced using a $600,000 grant from the state of Illinois. After initially indicating the pool would not open this summer, officials now say there will be one more season of swimming before demolition gets underway. The grant for the Springfield Park District is part of a record $60 million from the Open Space Land Acquisition and Development Program. Officials expect to complete the renovations during the summer of 2024. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
News sponsored by 7th Street Cidery, Central Illinois' first cidery. Now open next door to Obed and Isaac's in downtown Springfield.
This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager for Midwest Family Springfield. Are you the one person I'm looking for to help further build our media sales team at Midwest Family Springfield? We are the premier multimedia marketing company that no other company compares to in the Springfield area. It's really simple. I need one sales leader, a brand ambassador whose talent and team focus will thrive working with Midwest Family. Are you passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive? Are you an overachiever, a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have the skill set for today's digital marketing? And do you believe in growing lasting partnerships? If so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, you'll be challenged, you'll be trained, and you'll have access to world-class tools like HubSpot CRM. Are you the one I'm looking for? If so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
Less frustration, more vacation. Book a nonstop flight from Springfield's Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport, SPI to Fort Myers, Punta Gorda at Allegiant.com and experience the sun, fun, and relaxation of Southwest Florida. Find low fares and save big by bundling at Allegiant.com. Fly from SPI and spend more time enjoying vacation. Book your flight from SPI at Allegiant.com. Fly local. Fly SPI. Take the easy way out.
Take the easy way out.
Springfield Supportive Living. Are you young enough?
They're always doing something special for us.
I like the bowling game upstairs, and I played bingo.
The entertainment they have, it's always good.
I've made some nice friends.
I like the people here. Residents and the staff are both very, very nice.
It's a great place.
I love it.
Springfield Supportive Living. Are you young enough?
Get today's headlines delivered to your inbox every morning. Subscribe now at WMAY.com. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly cloudy today with a high near 50. Rain tonight with a low around 37. Tomorrow, wind and rain, sometimes heavy for most of the day with a high near 38, low around 28. Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 51. Sunday, sunny with a high near 58. And Monday, partly sunny with a high near 66. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Well, the time's coming to an end for you to shop indoors and to get incredible savings with Green Hyundai. Mike Quimby standing by with the latest. Mike?
That's right, Greg. Hey, this weekend, March the 4th, is Saturday, and we'll be giving away $1,000 in hard cash. So you got to get your name in there today, tomorrow, Saturday morning, so that you can be present to win that. And we also give away a 50-inch Samsung Smart TV also. So it's a really big opportunity to win big there, and also win big on savings as we begin to look at closing that facility down. And we've got to sell these cars, or we'll have to take them to the auction and wholesale them to another dealer. And I'd rather pass the savings on here because 99% of all those cars are trade-ins from right here around this area. We sold 157 new Hyundais last month of February. So we took in 120 keepers, we'll call them, cars that we'll keep, we'll recondition, and then we back them up by a lifetime warranty. No better used car than a car from Green Hyundai or the indoor ginormous auto clearance event. While supplies last, stop by get a $25 gift card to the grocery store, too, the county market. So it's indoors. Yep, it is. At the old Shop and Save, corner of Wabash and Chatham Road, for the final days of the Drive and Save. Greg?
Mike Quimby, Green Hyundai. Have a great day.
You got it, buddy.
You've heard me talking about it for a while now. BLH Computers with their locations in Springfield, Jacksonville, and Taylorville, and they are the place to go when you're looking for a quality laptop. When that one that you're using right now, goes kaput. And since we're coming up on tax season and you have a refund coming your way, you can put those hard-earned funds to work for you. So before you go out and spend all your tax money on something else, maybe earmark a few bucks for a nice updated laptop at BLH Computers. So whether you're upgrading or replacing an old machine, it will come with the BLH guarantee that covers desktops, laptops sold at the store, no labor charge to fix a problem. And if it needs a fix and the part is in stock, that's free, no cost to you. BLH Computers is one of the largest electronics recycler in our region, so take your old electronics into BLH Computers today. Clear off that desk, prepare for many more tax seasons to come. Upgrade the computer with BLH Computers. Locations in Springfield, Jacksonville, Taylorville. Learn more online, blhcomputers.com.
Springfield has so many must-see destinations when you come to visit, such as the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum, Bicentennial Plaza, and don't forget 7th Street Cidery. Yes, 7th Street Cidery, Central Illinois' first cidery, is quickly becoming a destination for their great selection of locally sourced ciders, meads, and perries in a warm, rustic atmosphere. Located at 503 South 7th Street next to Obed and Isaac's and across from Lincoln's home, near great shopping and history in the heart of downtown Springfield. 7th Street Cidery.
If you love barbecue and tasty butts drive you nuts, wiggle on over to Lil Willie's Smokehouse. Fresh smoked barbecue that you're gonna love. What's your pleasure? Brisket, pork, chicken? Lil Willie's got it. And all of the classic sides, like homemade mac and cheese and cornbread. Follow your nose to the smoke at Lil Willie's Smokehouse. Ask about Willie's Rewards, where you get points for eating barbecue. Lil Willie's Smokehouse at the corner of South Grand and MacArthur. Wiggle Central.
For more information, visit littlewilliesbbq.com.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
The Heartland CO2 Greenway pipeline. Are you going to be impacted by this here in Central Illinois? I'll talk more about it here with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Let's connect now with my guest, Kathleen Campbell. She is with Citizens Against the Heartland Greenway Pipeline, and she joins us to give us the latest. Good morning, Kathleen. Thanks for taking time with us again. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Well, we're finding out more and more about this, and grateful for you staying on top. Last time we talked, the project had filed with the ICC, the Illinois Commerce Commission. They withdrew that, but we kind of speculated that they would indeed file again. So I guess, what's the latest on this?
They have refiled, and not only that, they added another 42 miles of pipeline. They're calling it a lateral, but it's actually the same size as the original trunk line, so it's high capacity. They're going down into Montgomery County, and the reason is that they were unable to get some of the sequestration sites they wanted, so now they're going to be ripping up another 42 miles of farmland and placing even more lives at risk. So it's actually much worse now.
So tell us, we're looking at a map here that's on their website. I'm not sure if it is the latest, but it does show that they have a pipeline going into Montgomery County, also going into Christian County. Seems to be split coming through Sangamon County. But it's got a ton of Illinois counties wrapped in on this. Hancock, Brown, Morgan, goes through Schuyler County, also, or Schuyler County rather, all the way up to Knox County, Henry County, Fulton, McDonough. I mean, this is a pipeline for what exactly?
Well, this is for hazardous waste. So don't. Some people confuse this with energy. It's absolutely not. This is a toxic hazardous waste pipeline, highly explosive. It's not combustible, but highly explosive. There was a rupture before in Satoshi, Mississippi, and everyone within a mile was sent to the hospital, over a mile, actually. So this is very unlike your gas and oil pipelines. And also, this is just a spider web pattern. Like you say, it's going all over the place. This is not an efficient delivery system. So it's rather frightening, the lack of respect they have for our prime farmland here.
So what do you think people need to do about this? And as far as, can they file with the ICC? Can they post their concerns? Or maybe some people out there support this idea. Where can people be able to take part in this process that could impact them directly here in central Illinois and even all throughout western Illinois as well?
Well, now is the time to take action. One, they can go on the Navigator new docket, which is 2023-0161. And file public comment opposing it.
Give that to us one more time.
2023-0161 docket number. So they have a new docket number and paste a public comment opposing this. But also, they need to be contacting their legislators, and now is the time. There are two bills that could help a lot to protect human lives here in Illinois. One is Senate Bill 1916, which is a moratorium. And our own Senator McClure is sponsoring this, Steve McClure. And that puts a 2-year moratorium on these projects because, again, they're trying to rush it through. The Department of Transportation and PIMSA, the Pipeline Management Association, did put out that the pipeline regulations are inadequate. After the Satoshi disaster, they said that the safety guidelines for CO2 pipelines must be upgraded, and the deadline for that is October 2024, or the expected deadline. So we need to get people to contact their legislators to support Senate Bill 1916 so that gets passed, so we have 2 years for a moratorium on these, because otherwise the companies are going to install this before the new safety guidelines come out. And the other is House Bill 3119, sponsored by Ann Williams, and that imposes setbacks. Right now, they're putting these pipelines, or plan to put these pipelines, so close to housing that if they rupture, you will not have a chance of escape. You will be in the CDC level of immediately dangerous to life and health. And the rupture in Satoshi continued for 4 hours. So that is really frightening. So that House Bill 3119 would put in setbacks to help keep housing away from the pipelines, or pipeline away from the housing, and also would take away eminent domain. Here's what's frightening. In January, Navigator had to release how many voluntary easements it had. It only had 6% sign up. But with Illinois state law, unless we pass some new legislation here, if this gets through the Illinois Commerce Commission, the other 94% could be taken by eminent domain. Now, they may be signing up more people now, but there's automatic eminent domain. Now, no public utility gets that. This is a private company for public good with a hazardous waste substance. How could they possibly be entitled to eminent domain? This is not schools, roads, or other things that the public needs. This is hazardous waste.
We're talking with Kathleen Campbell. She is with Citizens Against the Heartland Greenway Pipeline, and you've given us a lot of information here, and I've been presenting some of it as you've talked about it. Of course, the docket number with the ICC, 23-0160, so 23-0161. You could search that and find out more information from the ICC's website, but also you've got legislation, the Senate legislation has actually been put into the Energy and Public Utilities Committee. So that is Senate Bill 1916. So we'll be watching that at the Illinois State House. That's from State Senator Steve McClure. And then you have the House bill that you told us about here, 3119 from State Representative Ann Williams. Kathleen, this is seemingly a bipartisan push back against this. What do you think that indicates for the future of the Heartland project that, again, is not just coming through central Illinois, it's going through the western part of the state. Hancock County, Schuyler County, Brown County, Scott County's getting some, Morgan County's getting some, Knox, Henry, Fulton, McDonough. I mean, this is, as you said, like a spider web. So what do you think the bipartisan pushback on this indicates for the future of this planned project?
Well, they've got billions of dollars on their side, and we don't. So we're fighting this through GoFundMe and contributions and volunteers. But this is so egregiously wrong that I think it is attracting attention on both sides. I know that this is not a partisan issue. This is a matter of protecting human lives, no matter what party you are, and protecting our precious farmland here. So we've got all sorts of people in our group. We don't even ask political, religious affiliation. It doesn't matter. This is about what is good for Illinois, and this is 5 states' worth of this hazardous waste that they want to sequester into Illinois. And if we allow this project, we're expecting that the Wolf ADM pipeline company will be filing by the end of March. There's 2 other companies that already want to come into Illinois. There are some estimates that they're going to be putting in 60 to 70,000 miles of this pipeline across the U.S., with virtually all of it sequestering in Illinois, northern Kentucky, most of it Illinois, which is frightening. We'll be solid pipelines and hazardous waste.
So, Kathleen, somebody on YouTube asking a question, will the pipeline have hydrogen sulfide in it? Do you know that detail, or is it just going to be CO2, or does that even matter at this point? You don't want any kind of pipeline piping through.
Well, you don't want any kind of pipeline. Right now they're saying it'll be pure CO2. The reason they're asking that question, it's a very good question, is because that was an issue down in Satartia. Now, some of the pipeline companies have tried to say that the people were hospitalized because of that contaminant and not because of the CO2, but that's not true. In the hospital, the patient's CO2 levels were highly elevated, and they stayed elevated. But there can be contaminants. Can't rule that out. But the main concern is the CO2 itself.
Kathleen, greatly appreciate your time, your knowledge, and this is. Have you considered yourself an activist in the past? Is this your first foray into this?
I'm a retired professor. Sure, I like the environment. I've always liked camping and the outdoors and everything, but I have not been an activist. But when they want to put something this deadly close to your home in my housing district, yes, I got very interested very quickly. Unfortunately, other people have felt the same way, and we've joined together to help fight this, to protect our property and our lives.
Well, appreciate your time and your attention to this, and we'll definitely be talking again soon. What's the latest with the ICC? Is there a hearing coming up? Is that just people can get more information about the dockets?
Right. This is very new. They just refiled this Friday, and so the schedule is not set yet. But you can always check that docket number for updates.
Yeah, and it looks like January 24th is a deadline for committee. I'm looking here at the schedule for it. That's already come and gone. That was the old docket. Gotcha.
So, so the new docket will
be
filed
on February 24th. Yeah, so interesting. Yeah. All right, now, Kathleen, thank you so much again. Appreciate it, and we'll definitely talk again in the near future. All right, be safe.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You
Bye.
too. It is Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Now 7:52. Got to take a break from Culver's West on Wabash. And it's time for the announcement of who is going to get this week's $75 rebates for Fly SPI. Of course, we've been doing this for several weeks, and we've got more weeks to go. And your ability to win $75 rebates for Fly SPI to celebrate their 75 years with Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport. So let's go ahead and get it out there for who is this week's winner. And this week's winner for the $75 rebates had to answer the question about what airplane was part of the Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport. And pretty awesome stuff. This week's winner is Mike Hall of Springfield. Mike Hall, you answered the question correctly. What was the first airplane based with the newly formed 170th Tactical Fighter Squadron in SPI? 1948, it was the North American F-51 Mustangs, formerly designated as P-51s. So Mike Hall, congratulations. You win this week's $75 flight rebate voucher from Fly SPI and the Abraham Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport. Now, head on over to WMAY.com/fly, where you can find the new trivia question. And if you answer the question correctly, you'll be entered to win. Again, WMAY.com/fly. Make it happen, all right? 7:54 now.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
You can jumpstart your car with a device you can hold in your hand. I'm Laurie from Rex Battery, and if you find yourself with a dead battery, the NOCO Genius Boost is all you need. You don't have to wait for a friend to show up, call a tow truck, or hope a stranger has jumper cables. If you have the NOCO Genius Boost, you have the charge you need to get your car going again. One charge can get you as many as 20 jumps. Rex Battery always carries the latest technology, and these small devices pack big power, enough oomph to start your cars, trucks, and even boats. They even have USB ports so you can get your phone powered up if you're stranded. The NOCO Genius Boost. Pick up one today at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
John, the price of groceries is enough to send somebody into a panic mode these days.
Yeah, especially when the refrigerator goes kaput.
Even more so. We got a call from a customer who had that problem with a freezer load of those expensive groceries.
And that'll keep you awake at night just thinking about it.
Right. So, because Dick Van Dyke stocks the 100 most used parts, we were able to send a factory-trained tech out to her place to fix the problem before she lost any of that food.
And he wasn't some subcontractor either.
Trained right here locally by the team of Dick Van Dyke.
You know, one way to fight inflation?
Yep.
Keep from having to buy expensive stuff twice.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store, which means you have the comfort of knowing that if anything goes wrong, we'll make it right. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. We stand behind what we sell. We offer so much more. Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
The Verlo Mismatch Sale is back. It's our biggest sale of the year. Mismatch on the outside, the same Verlo long-lasting craftsmanship on the inside. So hurry in now and save an additional 10% off every mattress and box spring. Wake up. Sleep better. Verlo.
Why waste another night on a mattress that's not comfortable or supportive? This is Caleb Kitzman with Verlo Mattress. Our mattresses aren't dropped off by the truckload like most mattress stores. At Verlo, we handcraft every mattress in our local factory. That means we custom fit a mattress for you, not the other way around. Stop in this month and pair any of our mattresses with an adjustable base and get up to $200 off. Verlo Mattress. We're not just building a better mattress, we're building a better night's sleep for less.
The Verlo Mismatch Sale is back. It's our biggest sale of the year. Mismatch on the outside, the same Verlo long-lasting craftsmanship on the inside. So hurry in now and save an additional 10% off every mattress and box spring. Wake up. Sleep better. Verlo.
3120 Montvale Drive, Springfield. Where do you go when you want to get in shape? The Body Quest Store, the Body Quest Store. High quality exercise equipment for your home. The Body Quest Store, the Body Quest Store. The quest for the healthier you begins at the Body Quest Store, the Body Quest Store. 3120 Montvale Drive, the Body Quest Store, the Body Quest Store. 787-9930. The Body Quest Store, the Body Quest Store. The quest for the healthier you begins at the Body Quest Store. 3120 Montvale Drive, Springfield.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had two challenges: improve their brand presence and message, and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to KansasCitySteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WebNow1. That's 877-WebNow1.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
You just bought a home in the suburbs, but no one told you about all the birds, specifically this one, who seems to be calling out Roy. Roy. But who exactly is Roy? And why doesn't he ever respond? Maybe Roy is just bird speak for Save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto. I guess until Roy answers, we'll never know. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided in service by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
All right, it's all the time we got this hour. Why isn't it Friday? God! I asked my wife that like at least 5 times last night. Why isn't today Friday? It's only Thursday? Come on. All right, we'll get through it together, I promise. It's 8 o'clock.
From the Fly SPI Studios, take the easy way out. WMAY FM, Taylorville, Springfield's News and Talk is 92.7 WMAY.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Faith Abube. Problems in the air and at airports across the country with a series of scares. The latest, a man under arrest after investigators say he had an explosive device in his checked luggage.
The object turned out to be a combination of flash powder and black powder wrapped in wax paper with a quick fuse. It was put into the liner of a checked suitcase that also contained a lighter, a can of butane, and a wireless drill with cordless batteries. The FBI said the powders are susceptible to ignite from heat, so there could have been a possible risk had the bag made it on board the Allegiant flight to Sanford, Florida. The passenger, Mark Muffley, is facing charges and due in court on Thursday.
ABC's Aaron Katursky. Also in court today, closing arguments in the Alec Murdaugh trial in South Carolina. He's charged with killing his wife Maggie and son Paul, but denies any involvement.
I ask you to return a verdict of guilty against the defendant, Richard Alexander Murdaugh, for the murder of his wife Maggie and his son Paul.
Lead prosecutor Creighton Waters in his closing yesterday. Today, the defense delivers its closing. 13 California counties under a state of emergency due to the snow, piles of it from the mountains to the coast. Roads are blocked, drivers, emergency crews, food and medicine deliveries are stuck.
Plowing is going to continue over the course of the next several days, upwards of a week, back into some of our communities. We need our residents to help take care of each other.
San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors Chair Dan Rowe. Chicago about to see some changes at the top as violent crime in the city continues to spiral. Yesterday, a police officer was shot and killed on duty. The same day, Police Superintendent David Brown announced he's stepping down in 2 weeks. And Tuesday night, Mayor Lori Lightfoot lost her re-election bid, coming in third behind 2 others who will face each other in a runoff election next month. This is ABC News.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Josh, quote, "After walking around my whole life being a mouth breather, I was excited to try Navage. I read the directions carefully, pressed the button, and oh my gosh, what a sensation. So much mucus, so much crud, but oh sweet, merciful air, I can finally breathe you through my nose. Never have I ever taken such an amazing breath in my life. This is a life changer," unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, health.
All right, coming up this hour, we'll talk about the Biometric Information Privacy Act. What is it? Remember those checks that went out from Facebook? I even got one from Snapchat. I barely use Snapchat. What? Have you gotten some of those payouts? I want to hear from you. 217-629-7970. And do you think there needs to be any changes? Because even the Illinois Supreme Court recognizing that the state's Biometric Information Privacy Act, it's got some pretty severe consequences for businesses that violate it. So we'll talk about that and also have an expert on to delve deeper into it, but also Chicago crime. We'll touch on that as well. Stay tuned. It's Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. It's now 8:04.
News.
Weather.
92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. Nearly 100 Sangamon County food establishments have received a gold award from the County Department of Public Health. The award is given each year to establishments that pass public health inspections with few or no violations and meet other criteria. The awards also come with reductions in the business's food service permit fee, up to 20% off for 3 consecutive years of gold award status. A federal appeals court has affirmed a ruling against Attorney General Kwame Raoul's attempt to get the Equal Rights Amendment included in the U.S. Constitution. Illinois is one of 3 states to ratify the ERA in the past 5 years, bringing the total to 38 states. But the appeals court held that the deadline has passed, and Raoul now says it's up to Congress to act. Opponents fear that ratification of the ERA could lead to recognition of a constitutional right to abortion. A Logan County man has been sentenced to 5 years in prison on federal child pornography charges. 42-year-old Joshua Skelton of San Jose was indicted in November of 2021 and pleaded guilty to the charges last September. At sentencing, prosecutors presented evidence that Skelton had possessed or traded hundreds of images of sexually explicit content involving children using online chat applications. Governor J.B. Pritzker announced yesterday that Veterans Memorial Pool at Geedle Park in Springfield will be demolished and replaced using a $600,000 grant from the state of Illinois. After initially indicating the pool would not open this summer, officials now say there will be one more season of swimming before demolition gets underway. The grant for the Springfield Park District is part of a record $60 million from the Open Space Land Acquisition and Development Program. Officials expect to complete the renovations during the summer of 2024. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
News sponsored by Just Beds. A great night's sleep starts with a visit to the yawn exterminators at Just Beds. Online at justbedsinc.com.
Nobody wants to think about their furnace going out this time of year, but if it does happen, you want service quickly and affordably, which is why a service agreement with MB Heating and Cooling is such a good idea. For one thing, regular furnace maintenance means it's much less likely that your furnace is going to have problems. Your equipment will last longer. Your utility bills could be lower, and it protects your investment in your HVAC system. But with a service agreement from MB Heating and Cooling, there's extra protection. For example, the basic silver plan gives you 2 performance tune-ups a year. There is 24-hour priority service should you need it. You get energy-saving cleanings, and if you do have to have that service, again, less likely with the regular maintenance, but when it does happen, you get a 20% discount on your service invoice. You get all this for just $24.95 per month. Peace of mind at a reasonable price. To sign up for an MB service agreement, visit mb-heating.com or call 217-544-HEAT, 544-4328.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
The Illinois Product Expo is back Saturday, March 4th, 10 to 5, and Sunday, March 5th, 10 to 3 at the Orr Building, located on the Illinois State Fairgrounds. The expo has brought Illinois food companies and consumers together for 24 years. Sample new products, relax in the Illinois Wine Garden, and stock up on your longtime favorites. Admission is $5. Children 10 and under are free. Sponsored by Illinois Department of Agriculture, Illinois Farm Bureau, Illinois Wine, Hy-Vee, Harvest Market, Prairie Farms, Taraski Meats, and Illinois FFA. Visit IllinoisProductExpo.com for details.
Everywhere with the WMAY app. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly cloudy today with a high near 50. Rain tonight with a low around 37. Tomorrow, wind and rain, sometimes heavy for most of the day with a high near 38, low around 28. Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 51. Sunday, sunny with a high near 58. And Monday, partly sunny with a high near 66. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager for Midwest Family Springfield. Are you the one?
Are you the one person I'm looking for to help further build our media sales team at Midwest Family Springfield? We are the premier multimedia marketing company that no other company compares to in the Springfield area. It's really simple. I need one sales leader, a brand ambassador whose talent and team focus will thrive working with Midwest Family. Are you passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive? Are you an overachiever, a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have the skill set for today's digital marketing? And do you believe in growing lasting partnerships? If so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, you'll be challenged, you'll be trained, and you'll have access to world-class tools like HubSpot CRM. Are you the one I'm looking for? If so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, I'm Misty Busher. For the last 8 years, I've been your Springfield City Treasurer. During that time, I modernized the office and earned over $8 million in interest. I'm proud to be a Springfield resident, and my husband Mike and I have raised our 2 children here. I'm running for mayor, and in the coming months, I will share with you my specific ideas on how I will bring new energy and leadership to help our city grow and prosper. I'm Misty Busher, and I'm working to earn your vote for Springfield Mayor.
Paid for by Friends of Misty Busher.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Coming up, we'll talk about the Biometric Information Privacy Act with an expert in the field, but let's go ahead and get some of the latest in the ongoing litigation of gun laws. And here's a headline for you. If you've been following all of the back and forth about gun laws in Illinois and elsewhere, you've got the Associated Press reporting about retired officers angry at the board's delay on gun carrying. And this is coming from the Associated Press here in Illinois. Thousands of law enforcement officers left out when Illinois adopted a federal law allowing police agency retirees to carry concealed weapons. Saw their fortunes reversed January 1st with a state law granting them permission. But 2 months later, the Associated Press reports they still await the okay to carry firearms in public because the regulatory agency that runs the retiree program isn't complying with the law. The Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board said conflicting laws rendered the board powerless to issue concealed carry permits to sheriff's deputies who worked the jails or monitored courtrooms. But it waits until January 11th, more than a week after the law's effective date, to seek an opinion from the state attorney general on how to proceed. So Governor J.B. Pritzker was asked about this yesterday, and he merely just said he's going to look into it and didn't really know much of the detail about what's going on there. But you can see that, even with retired law enforcement, when it comes to concealed carry and other in the law enforcement space, getting concealed carry and being able to carry guns in public, there's still a lot of uncertainty in how that's going to be handled in the future. So an interesting headline there. But today we do have some expectations in the ongoing litigation against Illinois' gun ban and magazine ban, and that is that the federal court cases down in the Southern District expecting to see a state filing today. So you've got the states that's required to file in response to a motion for a preliminary injunction in the Southern District of Illinois, and that case coming from the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the Illinois State Rifle Association, the Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois, and also the Crawford County state-level case that was transferred from state-level court to federal court. 4 cases being consolidated in the Southern District, and that means a consolidated briefing schedule. So the state has to respond today. We'll talk about it tomorrow as to what their response is, but we do have that court date that's scheduled for April 12th in the Southern District of Illinois Federal Court in East St. Louis. But there's other happenings in the ongoing gun litigation, and that is in the Naperville case. If you recall, the judge in the Northern District of Illinois several weeks ago ruled against the gun store in Naperville, essentially saying that they weren't going to grant a temporary restraining order and that the state's gun ban and registry is constitutional. This all stems from a case that actually was filed against Naperville last year before Illinois passed its gun ban. So the case was filed sometime in September after Naperville approved a gun ban in that jurisdiction, but the case was amended after January 10th when the state enacted its gun and magazine ban to include a challenge of the state ban. And then you had the federal judge in that case go ahead and deny the temporary restraining order and essentially uphold the state's and Naperville's gun ban as constitutional, seeming to use the kind of approach of the balancing of public interest versus the individual right to keep and bear arms. So that judge, by the way, in the Northern District has been overthrown twice. Her rulings on two different gun cases dealing with Chicago and whether or not there are gun stores and gun ranges. So that judge having the appellate court essentially overrule her on two different occasions. Gun rights supporters expect the appellate court to overturn her on this decision as well. So that's in the Northern District. But to get to that chance to overturn, it has to be appealed. And the latest in the Naperville case from earlier this week is that they have filed for a motion for injunctive relief pending appeal. And there you can see some of the points that the plaintiff brings up, looking for that motion of injunctive relief pending appeal, signaling they are going to appeal the judge's order on this. And one of the things they bring up is that cash reserves are depleted, that the individuals who are barred from being able to carry weapon or to buy weapons, they are being prohibited now, they say, from exercising their Second Amendment rights in any fashion, this fashion in particular, which means that their business will be forced out of business, and even worse, the citizens of Naperville and now the state of Illinois will be left as sitting ducks for criminals who will still get the banned firearms to accomplish their nefarious purpose, as history has confirmed. So they're looking to get that injunctive relief so that they can then have some safety in exercising their Second Amendment while this plays out in the federal court system in the Northern District. So we'll watch, of course, what happens with the Naperville case, but today a lot of attention is going to be on the state's reply to the plaintiffs in the Southern District federal court. And all of that's going to be playing out. We'll be watching very closely. So stay tuned. Of course, you can always check in each and every weekday morning here on WMAY. It's Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop. All right, stay tuned. Coming up, we'll talk about other court cases, about the Biometric Information Privacy Act. What is it, and is it hurting business? And is there any kind of middle ground here? So stay tuned. It's coming up next on WMAY. Now 8:16 from Culver's West on Wabash. Let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast, where you've got a high of 50, the low of 36. Possibility of some rain overnight into Friday, with the possibility of some snow with a high of 39. Mostly cloudy Friday night. It's going to be a low of 29. Could be blustery at times, but then Saturday, it's going to warm up to a high near 51. Sunday, mostly sunny, the high near 60, and then the high up to near 70 by Monday with partly sunny skies. Right now, the sun's shining, 34 degrees at 8:17 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
As you sit slightly sideways staring at a ditch, it's about now you're thinking, I sure wish I'd have visited Lauterbach and done something about these tires. Worry not, we've all been there, and Lauterbach is here. It's the Lauterbach man, and I'm overlooking stacks of fresh tires ready for your car. Putting two and two together, it's pretty clear that a place called Lauterbach Tire is quite exceptional when it comes to those rubber miracles. See, good tread and properly balanced tires can mean the difference between you choosing when to stop and that slushy ditch choosing for you. And it's not exaggerating to say better tires can mean a safer Springfield. I'm serious about safety, and I know you are too. So let's meet over lunch or whenever is convenient for you and find you a nice set of safe tires. You'll be happy, and that car in front of you right now will be happy too. See my talented techs at Lodebeck Tire on Wabash today, and drive safely now.
What's the best thing to do with your money during uncertain times? Financial experts agree products like certificates of deposit and money market accounts can be a safe haven from a bumpy economy. At Warren Boynton State Bank, we've been helping people find ways for their money to make money for 145 years. Certificates of deposit, or CDs, give you a guaranteed return on your money. Money market accounts are a way to let your money earn higher interest with the flexibility of a checking account. These are just two options we have at Warren Boynton, each designed to give your money security, and they just might help you sleep better at night. At Warren Boynton, you can say we've seen a few things over the years. A lot has happened since we opened our doors in 1877, but no matter what was going on in the rest of the world, we've stood by folks in Central Illinois. A little extra confidence during challenging economic times. Warren Boynton State Bank, WBSB.net, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
All good things must unfortunately come to an end. It's the final days of the ginormous indoor auto clearance sale at the Old Shop and Save, Chatham and Wabash.
March the 11th will be the last days of this indoor auto sale. We must sell all these cars or be forced to wholesale them at the auto auction. We'd rather sacrifice them to the public. Understand, these are local trade-ins on a new Hyundai. There's no better cars or trucks than these. All inventory marked down to rock-bottom prices. Must be sold before Saturday, March 11th.
The final days of the ginormous indoor auto clearance sale inside the Old Shop and Save, Chatham and Wabash. When it's over, it's over.
The Verlo Mismatch Sale is back. It's our biggest sale of the year. Mismatch on the outside, the same Verlo long-lasting craftsmanship on the inside. So hurry in now and save an additional 10% off every mattress and box spring. Wake up. Sleep better. Verlo.
Why waste another night on a mattress that's not comfortable or supportive? This is Caleb Kitzman with Verlo Mattress. Our mattresses aren't dropped off by the truckload like most mattress stores. At Verlo, we handcraft every mattress in our local factory. That means we custom fit a mattress for you, not the other way around. Stop in this month and pair any of our mattresses with an adjustable base and get up to $200 off. Verlo Mattress. We're not just building a better mattress, we're building a better night's sleep for less.
The Verlo Mismatch Sale is back. It's our biggest sale of the year. Mismatch on the outside, the same Verlo long-lasting craftsmanship on the inside. So hurry in now and save an additional 10% off every mattress and box spring. Wake up. Sleep better. Verlo.
Anxiety. There's plenty of it to go around for just about everyone these days, but the question is, how are you dealing with it? Anxiety can make things difficult. If you find yourself reaching for drugs or alcohol as the solution, chances are your anxiety has gotten out of control. It's time to pick up the phone and call Gateway Foundation. You'll talk with someone who holds the strictest confidentiality so that you can open up and learn about treatment options. Our team of professional counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, and physicians have a long history of helping people like you get back on track. During the healing process, you'll find that there is nothing to be ashamed of. Calling Gateway Foundation is that important first step towards getting away from the self-medication of alcohol and other substances and on the road towards safe, rewarding, and sustainable recovery. Call Gateway Foundation at 877-505-HOPE for a free, private, confidential screening. Gateway Foundation, addiction medicine saving lives.
All right, head on over to WMAY.com where you can take today's daily poll, and the poll question is about the Equal Rights Amendment and whether you think the U.S. Constitution should be amended to include it. Yes or no? It's about evenly split now. Go vote at WMAY.com/poll. While you're at the website, find out how you can win a $75 rebate with Fly SPI, but also find out how you can win tickets to the Illinois Symphony Orchestra's presentation of a whole bunch of Star Wars and beyond. So it's pretty cool stuff. You can find out how to win. Go to WMAY.com/poll or WMAY.com/win. It's all happening at WMAY.com.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Weekdays 6 till 9 on 92.7 WMAY.
Just a couple of weeks ago, I got a check, a settlement check from Snapchat. I think it was like $16 or something like that. And then like a few weeks before that, I got a settlement check from like Equifax or something for like $5. I totally forgot about that one. But even before that, gosh, I think I got like close to $400 from Facebook. Now, the Equifax was different. That was an identity theft type thing. A whole bunch of people impacted by that, if you recall. But the Facebook and the Snapchat settlements were because of Illinois' unique and a lot of people seeing as very strict Biometric Information Privacy Act law. What is the Biometric Information Privacy Act? Well, look at my face, all right? It's got unique identifiers. My pupils are a certain distance apart. My nose is a certain length. My lips are a certain distance apart. My ears even. These are all individual markers that's very similar to your thumbprint. It's unique to you. And years ago, the Illinois legislature, for whatever prescient insight they had, they wanted to limit a company's ability to gather this type of information. Be it your face scan, be it your fingerprint, and to be able to use that information without your permission. So they approved the Biometric Information Privacy Act. And under that act, you've had Google having to settle for substantial amounts of money, Facebook having to settle for substantial amounts of money, Snapchat, and even most recently a case involving White Castle, which had questions about White Castle using their employees' fingerprints to clock in and out of work. But there's some questions being raised about how severe this law is, especially when you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in settlements from social media companies to pay out wholesale to people across the state of Illinois. And what about employers like White Castle? How are they impacted by this? And I think there was a separate case about Six Flags years ago. One individual was suing over having to use their thumbprints and didn't get proper permission. But what's going on here? To talk a bit more about this is Phil Malin. He is the executive director of Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse, Illinois. And Phil, thanks for taking time with us. We've got a whole bunch of other business groups that are going to be taken to a podium at the State House, the Chicago Chamber of Commerce. You've also got the Manufacturers Association involved there, several other groups involved. They're going to be talking about BIPA, as it's called. What is BIPA? Why is it bad for business, and what needs to change about it? Good morning.
Good morning, Greg. Thanks for having me on. And man, you did a great job of describing BIPA. As you said, it's a law designed for a very important purpose, to protect people's biometric information, their face scans, their fingerprints. And, this is relatively new technology, and it's important to protect people's privacy. But, I think when we look at laws and legislation, it's really important not to just stop looking when you look at the intent of the law, but to look about how the law is actually being applied, and to make sure that there's not unintended negative consequences. And in the case of this particular law, the BIPA law, the unintended consequences are potentially extraordinarily devastating, not only for the big social media companies that you talked about, but also for thousands of small businesses that have been sued under BIPA in Illinois. And and with these latest lawsuits that you mentioned, we can talk about that. The potential, the magnitude of damages is potentially catastrophic. And so it's a big deal, and I'm glad that you're taking the time to talk about it and let your listeners know about it.
And we've talked about it in some detail. I remember when it passed years ago. Gosh, it was like 2008 or something like that. And there was a lot of concern about the technology back then, kind of in its infancy, right? And then you had people's Google Photos automatically being cataloged into folders with their friends' faces, and they didn't realize I didn't tag my friend in that, and it was automatically doing it. And then it, just kind of started in this natural progression of people realizing, well, wait a second, this is seemingly technology that's increasing more and more. It's becoming easier to come across and also easier to catalog things. And listen, the White Castle case out of the Illinois Supreme Court, you had the dissent of that case where the majority supported keeping BIPA in place, but the dissent in the case recognized White Castle, just for scanning their employees' fingerprints to clock in and out, even for lunches and whatnot, that could total like $17 billion.
Yeah, that's with a B. $17 billion. That's a lot of hamburgers. The interesting thing about the White Castle case, and it was a massive expansion of the BIPA. And I think the dissenting obviously had the better reasoning in this case. It was narrowly decided, but. What happens is, so imagine if you work at White Castle and you check in with your fingerprint. Now, what White Castle is trying to say is that, okay, that's one collection. Even though you might check in the morning, and then you check in at lunch, and then you check in, when you clock out. The plaintiffs, the trial attorneys, were saying that that's 3 check-ins, and a violation for each one of those, which is. I agree with the dissent in that opinion. That's pretty ridiculous when you think about, what they're trying to protect. It's not like they were getting different fingerprints each time or whatever. They're getting the same fingerprint. So it's one collection, and the privacy interest that's being protected there is really just a fingerprint, not each collection of it. But the majority said it. So that turned what could be a damages in that case to maybe maximum of $95 million, which is an extraordinary sum, certainly enough to make sure that people are complying with BIPA, but it turned it from a $95 million potential damages to $17 billion. Like, I mean, it's hard to even quantify and think about what $17 billion looks like. Certainly White Castle would not be in a position, would have to go bankrupt to satisfy a judgment like that. So
it's pretty incredible. We're talking with the executive director of Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse Illinois, Phil Malin. What's the middle ground here? Obviously, we want to make sure people don't have their face cataloged without their permission. We don't want people to have their fingerprints cataloged without their permission. What's the happy medium here?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we got to protect people's biometric information, as we move forward. But that BIPA law was written in 2008 when the technology was really early, and it's just sort of out of date, and so it needs an update. And that's what the coalition of industry groups that are meeting this morning are going to be talking about. And they're not looking to get rid of BIPA. They're not just saying, hey, let's go to the Wild West and just let any company collect anything they want from their employees without permission. What they're saying is they're looking for, calling on the legislator to do some reforms. And the good news is that there has been some bipartisan action already. But the majority in that White Castle case that just came out a week or so ago actually encouraged the legislator to clarify their position and to make some corrections to BIPA. And so there's been some bipartisan response to that already. A gentleman named Bill Cunningham in the Senate and Jeff Kiker, Bill Cunningham's a Democrat, Jeff Kiker's a Republican. They introduced a bill that would make some changes to the BIPA law. And particularly, I think the most important would be to change that White Castle ruling to where it would just be one collection, the fingerprint situation, like that described before. It would be considered one collection of the fingerprint, not multiple collections, so that you would have it. They also they wanted to exempt from BIPA certain situations that were kind of sensitive security issues are involved, and there's a really important purpose for collecting information, as long as that information is treated appropriately. And then one thing I wanted to say also, Greg, is that this BIPA stuff doesn't really. It's kind of a harmless crime. In fact, that the defendant pays the penalty, regardless if they're not selling the data. They're not giving the data away. They're not careless with the data. It's just a matter of they're not giving the notice, And so that these employees at White Castle, they're their personal data, there's no allegation their personal data was sold to somebody or being used in a nefarious way. It's sort of a statutory violation, not a harm violation. So that's sort of an important point to do. So anyway, the good thing is that there's a lot of legislation coming out, and we really hope that that the industry groups are successful today, and that their common sense, reasonable, bipartisan legislators in Springfield understand that we can protect people's privacy without handing massive settlements. And one last thing, you mentioned that you got that Facebook lawsuit. You got $345. The attorneys,
it was close to like $400. Yeah,
they got $97.5 million. So, when you start to think about whose interests are being served here, that discrepancies between the judgment and the attorney's fees are pretty interesting, I think, and something maybe that the legislature should take a look at as well.
So you'd mentioned Jeff Kiker. I've got his two bills pulled up here. You've got House Bill 3119 and also House Bill 2335. Those actually have some hearings scheduled for next week, one in the Judiciary Criminal Committee and another in the Judiciary Civil Committee. You mentioned another lawmaker. Again, who else in a bipartisan approach here?
Yeah, the Senator Bill Cunningham, William Cunningham, I think he goes by. He introduced, I think, from what I can tell, identical, if not very similar, bill to Jeff Kiker. He introduced them in the Senate. So,
so we've got Senate Bill 1506 and Senate Bill 1511, just for those who are keeping track. And Cunningham's rather significant because he's in leadership with the Democrats at the State House, so we'll see just how much that goes through. He's the Senate President pro temp, so interesting to see that. And again, you got a bipartisan approach here. So apparently there is an effort to try to bring about some changes, and we'll hear a lot more about this in the hours to come, in the days ahead, as the legislature has a mid-May deadline to finish things up. So greatly appreciate it. Phil Malin, he is the executive director of the Illinois chapter for Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse. Greatly appreciate it. We'll talk again soon, okay?
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate the time.
Yep. Springfield's Morning News, late for news, 8:35 now on WMAY.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the three big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story: French President Emmanuel Macron and officials from around the world are attending the One Forest Summit this week in Brazzaville, Gabon. Discussion will be dominated by the issue of who pays for the protection and reforesting of lands that are home to some of the world's most diverse ecosystems and which suck significant amounts of carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. Countries with vast swaths of dense forest are looking for ways to make their preservation economically viable. A Logan County man has been sentenced to 5 years in prison on federal child pornography charges. 42-year-old Joshua Skelton of San Jose was indicted in November of 2021 and pleaded guilty to the charges last September. At sentencing, prosecutors presented evidence that Skelton had possessed or traded hundreds of images of sexually explicit content involving children using online chat applications. A federal appeals court has affirmed a ruling against Attorney General Kwame Raoul's attempt to get the Equal Rights Amendment included in the U.S. Constitution. Illinois is one of 3 states to ratify the ERA in the past 5 years, bringing the total to 38 states. But the appeals court held that the deadline has passed, and Raoul now says it's up to Congress to act. Opponents fear that ratification of the ERA could lead to recognition of a constitutional right to abortion. Governor J.B. Pritzker announced yesterday that Veterans Memorial Pool at Geedle Park in Springfield will be demolished and replaced using a $600,000 grant from the state of Illinois. After initially indicating the pool would not open this summer, officials now say there will be one more season of swimming before demolition gets underway. The grant for the Springfield Park District is part of a record $60 million from the Open Space Land Acquisition and Development Program. Officials expect to complete the renovations during the summer of 2024. Nearly 100 Sangamon County food establishments have received a gold award from the County Department of Public Health. The award is given each year to establishments that pass public health inspections with few or no violations and meet other criteria. The awards also come with reductions in the business's food service permit fee, up to 20% off for 3 consecutive years of gold award status. Horace Mann is apologizing for misstatements made to the Springfield City Council in his request for $600,000 to cover part of the cost of demolishing 2 downtown buildings. The company says it relied upon outdated information when it inaccurately stated that the buildings were not in the downtown historic district and there was no intent to mislead the council. But Horace Mann says the buildings are in such a state of disrepair that there is no viable alternative to demolition. Aldermen initially approved the TIF funding request, but the City Council could reconsider the vote next week. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
News sponsored by Just Beds. A great night's sleep starts with a visit to the yawn exterminators at Just Beds. Online at justbedsinc.com.
This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager for Midwest Family Springfield. Are you the one person I'm looking for to help further build our media sales team at Midwest Family Springfield? We are the premier multimedia marketing company that no other company compares to in the Springfield area. It's really simple. I need one sales leader, a brand ambassador whose talent and team focus will thrive working with Midwest Family. Are you passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive? Are you an overachiever, a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have the skill set for today's digital marketing? And do you believe in growing lasting partnerships? If so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, you'll be challenged, you'll be trained, and you'll have access to world-class tools like HubSpot CRM. Are you the one I'm looking for? If so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
3120 Montvale Drive, Springfield. Where do you go when you want to get in shape? The Body Quest Store, the Body Quest Store. High quality exercise equipment for your home. The Body Quest Store, the Body Quest Store. The quest for the healthier you begins at the Body Quest Store, the Body Quest Store. 3120 Montvale Drive, the Body Quest Store, the Body Quest Store. 787-9930. The Body Quest Store, the Body Quest Store. The quest for the healthier you begins at the Body Quest Store. 3120 Montvale Drive, Springfield.
Listen at home with your Amazon smart speaker. Alexa, play WMAY 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly cloudy today with a high near 50. Rain tonight with a low around 37. Tomorrow, wind and rain, sometimes heavy for most of the day, with a high near 38, low around 28. Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 51. Sunday, sunny with a high near 58. And Monday, partly sunny with a high near 66. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Here's what we believe at Rex Battery. You should be able to find the right battery when you need it. Our company started when my dad needed a battery for his car, and he built it himself. Today, more than 50 years later, we are still making sure you can find the right battery you need. And that includes the common batteries people use every day to the hard-to-find batteries used in big farm equipment. While online outlets are struggling with supply chain issues, we have shelves full of batteries. The best part is we're right here in town and ready to help today. Hearing aids, power tools, and the car in your garage. If it takes a battery, you can find the battery at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Less hassle, more travel. We've got connections, Springfield to Dallas to anywhere. The Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport remains open for you. Your hometown airport is committed to providing a safe, clean, and healthy travel experience. Security lines are short, parking is always free, and customer service is a top priority. Book your next American Airlines flight from SPI at aa.com. Fly local, fly SPI.
Take the easy way out.
You have cancer. 3 words you wish you could unhear. While a cancer diagnosis may be a shock to your system, cancer surgery doesn't have to be. Now there's Edge Radiosurgery at HSHS St. John's Cancer Center. Edge technology breaks down tumors non-invasively. No incision or hospital stay required. Now that's the kind of news you want to hear. Learn more about the Edge and our comprehensive cancer treatment plans at st-johns.org/edge. Edge Radiosurgery is not appropriate for all cancers. Serious side effects including fatigue and skin irritation can occur. Treatment times may vary.
You really love this one dress you saw in a photo. You want it, but all you have is the photo, no other information. This leaves you a few options. Either give up or endless online searching. I'm Kim Commando, America's Digital Pro, with a Google tip that'll make these sort of searches easy peasy. Multi-search in Google Lens lets you look up images and text at the same time. So when you plop an image into Google Lens, it uses image recognition technology that lets you find things online from what you see in your phone's camera. It's designed to show you all the relevant information on the objects that it identifies. So to use this nifty function, head to your Google app, tap the camera icon next to the search bar, and just take a quick photo of something that you want, like that red dress in that snapshot. And boom, Google will bring up all the similar images. It will make finding that dress or anything else that you're looking for really simple. Hey, sound like a tech pro even if you aren't one. Try my daily longer podcast for whenever you're on the go. It's called Kim Commando Today.
You can Google anything, but you can't Google trusted advice. And that's why millions just like you turn to Kim Commando every day on national radio, television, and USA Today to help protect and secure your computers, smartphones, televisions, and most important, to keep you and your family safe from hackers and scammers. If you're not already getting Kim's free breaking security alerts, you're missing a critical component to living in today's digital age. You can sign up now at commando.com/subscribe. Kim sends these free email newsletters to your inbox only when data breaches could expose your personal information. And when hackers find new ways to break into your computers and devices, Kim is always looking out for you. It's easy and free to get Kim's breaking security alerts. Go to commando.com/subscribe. Enter your email address and that's it. That's commando.com/subscribe. Commando.com/subscribe.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Yeah, coming up, we're going to hear the crime of the week from the local Crime Stoppers coordinator, but seems that there's just a crime of the week that happens practically every day up in Chicago, with a horrible headline to have to share with you this morning from the Chicago Tribune. Chicago police officer with bright future ahead of him identified after being fatally shot on Southwest Side in exchange of gunfire. And just reading here a bit from the Chicago Tribune, Chicago police officer was badly wounded during a shootout with a gunman Wednesday on the Southwest Side, succumbed to his injuries, officials said. Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown told reporters outside Mount Sinai Hospital that the male officer, who was shot multiple times, had died. Brown did not identify the officer or give his age. Initially, the officer was listed as a very critical condition. Police were responding to a domestic-related call of a man with a gun, and the suspect was chasing a woman down the street with a gun. And goes on to further say more about the incident that happened, and Chicago police continuing their investigation of this. But just an absolutely horrific story to have to share. This happening the day after you had an election where Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot lost her re-election campaign, and you've got two that are going to be on top, Paul Vallis and Brandon Johnson, who are going to go neck to neck in the April 4th runoff. And there you've got the questions of how are they going to handle crime? How are they going to handle education? How are they going to handle the economy? These are some of the things that are obviously going to be top of mind for Chicago voters. But a few other headlines here. Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown resigning. So you've got, after Lori Lightfoot lost, David Brown, he's stepping down from that top spot, and that'll be March 16th when he's no longer going to be Chicago's police superintendent. So what are some of the things that maybe the likes of Governor J.B. Pritzker is looking at when it comes to who should be the Chicago mayor next? He was asked that question down here in Springfield as to what exactly he's looking for. Is he going to endorse anybody? Here's Governor Pritzker reacting.
Yeah, I'll be listening and watching again. I think they have to articulate
more than just, in a messy primary with 9 candidates. It's frankly a cacophony, I think, for most people. And so I do think they're going to have to articulate and, direct their message. What is their primary message? And it's going to be, focused on what are they going to do about education? What are they going to do about healthcare? What are they going to do about public safety? What are they going to do about creating jobs? Those are all important things that I don't think have been, fully fleshed out by either one of those candidates. There's lots of post-mortem, I'm sure, to come. I would just say it is hard to hold a position like the mayor of Chicago, and it was 4 hard years, no doubt about it, and she put in great public service. Anybody that's willing to sacrifice like that, I think I want to congratulate on their willingness to do so.
So again, Governor J.B. Pritzker sharing some thoughts yesterday about Chicago's electoral outcome, with Lori Lightfoot losing and the 2 top vote getters going off to a runoff. And he wouldn't say exactly who he's going to support there, but Paul Vallis, being a former CEO of Chicago Public Schools, and Brandon Johnson, a former teacher and Cook County commissioner who has immense support from the Chicago Teachers Union, and apparently some controversy as well from the union using union dues and giving a loan to Johnson, and some of the teachers union members not too happy about that. It kind of goes to the argument against forced union membership when people don't want their dollars to be used for politics. It was one of the major arguments why the Janus v. AFSCME case was successful in the U.S. Supreme Court, and that's highlighted again by another instance in Chicago of that kind of controversy happening. But it's not just the economy, it's not just education, it's not just crime, like violent crime that you have to hear about out of Chicago. It's also corruption that you have to hear about out of Chicago. And John Lausch, the federal prosecutor who brought a ton of different charges across the aisle all around. He was appointed by former President Donald Trump. The U.S. senators from Illinois urged President Joe Biden to keep him on because he was doing good work. And it turned out that work that John Lausch was doing as the Northern District U.S. Attorney, he was compiling a case against major players in Illinois politics, including former longtime House Speaker Michael Madigan, who faces 22 counts of a variety of different corruption charges. So John Lausch, he's done. He's announced his retirement, and his role was pretty integral in cracking down on all kinds of corruption cases, let alone all the COVID fraud cases he brought forward, and so on. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with his career after he retires on March 11th. But he brought the case against Madigan, against ComEd, against AT&T, against Madigan Confidant, and some of those trials are going to be persisting here on throughout. So pretty fascinating there. One of the things that kind of highlights, again, some of the problems out of Chicago, it's not just the violent crime, it's the political crime. Political operative sentenced to more than 5 years in prison for an array of corruption, including red light camera scheme. And that's longtime Democratic operative Patrick Doherty being sentenced yesterday to 5 years in prison. So, it's not just education. It's not just economy. It's not just violent crime. What about corruption? And that's not just a problem in Chicago. It's a problem with just government in general. You don't want corrupt government that are looking out for the interests of a few rather than upholding the rights of all. Interesting stuff out of Chicago, and we'll see ultimately what happens here in about a month's time. That's also when Springfield's going to have its mayoral election. So a lot of moving pieces there. All right, stay tuned. We'll get the crime of the week coming up next here on WMAY. It's now 8:51. Let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast, where today you got a high of 50, the low down to 36. Possibility of some rain, but that's going to be over the evening hours. We got partly sunny skies. It's expected throughout the day today. Then rain possibly turning to snow Friday, the high of 39. It's going to be blustery Friday nights, the low of 29. Saturday, though, warming up to a high of 51, partly sunny. Sunday, mostly sunny, the high of 58. And Monday, partly sunny with the high of 66. Right now, 34 degrees. Sun's out, 8:51 on WMAY from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions. And did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
Lauterbach Man here, proudly standing above my busy 7 bays on Wabash. The view from here is amazing. I've been looking at our wonderful city for decades upon decades. Many things have changed, but other things have not. We love Abe. We aren't shy about covering things in cheese, then adding toast, then cheese, then fries, then cheese, then, well, you know what I'm talking about. And the thing I'm most proud of, the thousands and thousands of cars that are driving safely thanks to our talented Lauterbach technicians. Cars going from the airport to the universities, from North Dirksen to South Veterans, crisscrossing from farmland to downtown, waving at tourists and trusted politicians. Abe. And if Abe were here today, he'd say, "Who's the tall guy?" And I'd say, "I'm Lauterbach Man, and I'm at your service." And if an imaginary Abe Lincoln driving a car can trust us, you can too. Lauterbach Tire on Wabash. Drive safely now.
Hello, everybody. It's Cousin Bill with Illinois Paving. And we want to thank you for voting us #1 Reader's Choice Award Paver of the Year. Now, is that driveway of yours a sloppy, muddy mess? Is your driveway becoming a nuisance? Are you getting stuck in your driveway? Maybe your driveway is soft and it's unfunctional. Well, call the day and get on the schedule to get your driveway back to looking good, and you'll feel great about it. ILPaving.com! ILPaving.com.
John, do you remember what you were doing, say, about 10 years ago?
About as good as recalling what happened last week.
Right. Well, if you purchased, say, a dishwasher at Dick Van Dyke Appliance World 9 years and 364 days ago, it'd still be covered.
By the famous 10-year protection plan, of course.
Well, it's included with most purchases at Dick Van Dyke. And according to one Google reviewer, they still had unmatched prices and helpful people who delivered and set up the appliances without hassle.
The review mentions that they shopped around, did the comparison, and still found the best value at Dick Van Dyke.
So can you really not recall what you did last week?
Can you?
Now that I think of it, not really.
This is Dennis Reekin, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases, and we still beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Anxiety. There's plenty of it to go around for just about everyone these days, but the question is, how are you dealing with it? Anxiety can make things difficult. If you find yourself reaching for drugs or alcohol as the solution, chances are your anxiety has gotten out of control. It's time to pick up the phone and call Gateway Foundation. You'll talk with someone who holds the strictest confidentiality so that you can open up and learn about treatment options. Our team of professional counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, and physicians have a long history of helping people like you get back on track. During the healing process, you'll find that there is nothing to be ashamed of. Calling Gateway Foundation is that important first step towards getting away from the self-medication of alcohol and other substances and on the road towards safe, rewarding, and sustainable recovery. Call Gateway Foundation at 877-505-HOPE for a free, private, confidential screening. Gateway Foundation, addiction medicine saving lives.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-306-8158 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-306-8158. That's 800-306-8158. What do you have to lose? Call 800-306-8158. Again, 800-306-8158.
3 people you should be 100% certain about. Your barber, your plumber, and your tax pro. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and you can be 100% certain about your taxes. We'll get you your maximum refund guaranteed and we'll back your return for life. Don't be kind of certain or almost certain. Be 100% certain. Switch to Jackson Hewitt today and get 50% off tax prep. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Listen and watch the interviews with today's newsmakers on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe now. Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
Let's now check in with Officer Drew Zabados, coordinator for Sangamon and Menard County Crime Stoppers, to get the latest crime of the week, where you can find that at cashfortips.us. Officer, thanks for taking time with us. Tell us what we got.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Greg. We're looking to assist the Springfield Police Department this week. There was a shots fired a couple weeks ago on February 15th around 7 o'clock p.m. at Eastport of Fitness out there attached to the mall at 2501 Wabash. There were multiple shots fired. However, thankfully, nobody was injured and no property was damaged. The suspect is said to have fled the area on foot. If I do get some photos, those will be posted on our website, which is cashfortips.us. If you have any information about this, if you can give me the identity of the suspect, a suspect vehicle, or anybody involved, please call our anonymous tip line. That's 217-788-8427. You can also submit a tip on our website, or you can use the P3 mobile app. And, of course, we do pay up to $2,500 for any information that leads to an arrest.
So you can make that happen, help solve a crime, and you can get a cash reward, all anonymously. Cashfortips.us, where you can find this week's crime of the week, but also previous crimes of the week. And it doesn't have to be featured on the website for people to call in to provide a tip about a crime, right?
Correct. We'll take any information on any arrestable offense. And, yeah, it does not have to be anything on our website. It can be something that you just recently saw. We'll take any information on anything.
But obviously, if it's an emergency, call 911. But also help out with Crime Stoppers, and you can help solve crimes and get an anonymous payout. Officer Drew Zabados, Crime Stoppers Coordinator, Sangamon and Menard County, thanks so much for taking time, and be safe, all right?
Thank you, sir. Take care.
You too. All right, got to take a break, get out of here, and tomorrow's Friday. Oh, my God. Thank you. Tomorrow's Friday. Kept asking my wife last night, why can't tomorrow be Friday? She says there's a few more days left in the week. Of course. All right, I'm going to head over to the State House and run around, talk to some people, see what they're saying, see what kind of movement happens. We'll see if we can get today all buttoned up. And talk to you tomorrow. All right, have a great day. It's 9 o'clock in the capital city. Plenty of sunshine. We'll see you soon.
From the Fly SPI studio.